Hello and welcome to the Labour Social on Labour Social with me, Graham Hughes, and we've also got Darren Daily Blase, and we've got Wayne in Basildon. Are you in Basildon, Wayne?
I am in Basildon.
You are fantastically in Basildon. Oh, and we've got Ollie Bowler Hat Man. Brilliant. How's everyone doing this evening? Better than Rishi Sunak, probably. Because it's all a bit of a nightmare for him.
Over whether or not to sack Suella Braverman.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a bit of a no-brainer to me.
Well, it's not like the first time she could have been sacked, you know.
Okay, here's a question for you guys. What the fuck is going to happen tomorrow? Sorry, no swearing. What is going to happen tomorrow if we have a massive riot on our hands? This is going to be the biggest pro-Palestinian protest so far, and she's essentially given a green light to the EDL, all the Gamini knobheads, to turn up and start a fight. Even though I'm hoping that they'll go to the cenotaph, and obviously the march is going nowhere near the cenotaph, but the march route has been publicised on the BBC website and other places, so they know exactly where people are going to be marching. And I think there's going to be a lot of bother boys turn up in London tomorrow.
They'll go for them. They'll go for them.
Okay, so if police officers get caught between these, between the racists and the people whose race they hate, and if a police officer is seriously injured or even worse, this is on Suella Braverman.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Without a doubt.
No questions. But Rishi Sunak's still not going to sack her. I mean, this is every single time this comes up. He owes her far too much. He owes her far too much, because without Suella Braverman's support, he would have had to have gone to a leadership contest against Boris Johnson, which calls into question, would he have been able to win it? It would have been 50-50 gamble at best. And without Braverman's support, he'd have never won it. It would have never have just instantly walked it. That's why she's there. That's why she's the Home Secretary. And remember, only just previously, she'd been sacked for breaking ministerial code. And now she's back in it.
Okay, so just walk me through that. How is it her fault? Because Liz Truss got ousted by a letter, so remember that bit. I don't remember him ever winning an election.
Well, he won
poll,
or
he
the
won
raffle.
Or
he won the Tory leadership contest.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
He lost it.
Yeah,
and
well,
then the woman he lost
by default.
because
Essentially,
the woman he lost to died on stage, as they say in comedy, and like he just stood up and took the mic because he was literally the only other person there.
Yeah.
Dead bad comedian's boots.
It's basically, let's face it, it's 13 years of barrel scraping, and this is what we're left with. You know what I mean?
There's no barrel left, mate. I said this before. They're just scraping the floor where the barrel used to be. That's where they are. I mean, it's pathetic, isn't it? But like, I am really, really concerned about this now, and I'm really worried for the people going on the march. I'm really worried for the police as well. I didn't think I'd be saying that this year about the Met, but I am worried about the safety of the police officers who are going to be deployed in London tomorrow, when the Home Secretary and the front cover of the Mail this week has been calling for violence on Armistice Day, effectively.
Yeah. And
there's a way to honour their sacrifice, isn't it?
The irony is, it's the fact that Armistice Day is all about celebrating peace. These people are peacefully marching, and yet our Home Secretary is basically encouraging a dust-up on Armistice Day.
Well, it could be argued that they're peacefully marching for peace.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they're saying they want a ceasefire, which is an armistice. They're saying they want an armistice on Armistice Day, and you've got the Home Secretary saying, these people want war. This is a hate march. And she managed to piss off everyone in Northern Ireland by saying, this reminds me of those marches they have in Northern Ireland. And the Northern Ireland Protestants are like, what did you just say?
Yeah.
I'm like,
have a word with yourself, love.
Influence people. It is. I'm finding the whole thing very, very painful.
It's the thing that really sort of irks me is the fact that it's been highlighted in the media so much, like, you know, the one person who's got the hang glider on the back of their jumper.
Yeah.
But
There were two people.
Yeah, two people.
Two knobheads.
But they use that as this is all of these people. We're gonna make a monolith out of all these peaceful protesters who are sitting down in the street saying we want a ceasefire.
Yeah.
What is that about? And how easily are people cajoled into believing that is the main narrative of the march?
But if I was a troublemaker, if I wanted to go and cause trouble and stir shit up, I would go to London tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, one side or the other, I would go just to cause trouble. And you know, thinking about how much
I think
bother in my life
I hope
gammon have caused me, I might be tempted, if I was so inclined, to go out and pick a fight with some gammon, just for shit and giggles, for them, you know, basically ruining millions of people's lives by voting for Brexit and then continuing to vote for the bloody Tories till the end of time, till the heat death of the universe. What do they have to do to you, Roger, before you start voting for them? You're homeless. You're wanking off Latvian sailors for bread. What are you doing? Oh, but
you know what the worst thing is? You know what the worst thing is?
I love her.
She's still likely to keep her seat.
Yeah.
Braverman.
Yeah.
Well, Phil was talking about this today, saying if Rishi Sunak had some cojones and he just withdrew the whip, not just sacked her, but took the whip away. That's it. That's her leadership ambitions gone.
To do that, he'd have to have a spine, and he's got no spine.
No.
To get rid of Suala, to get rid of her, he has to grow a spine, and he has to start instilling some order. This has been his problem since after the first week. His second week, MPs started misbehaving. MPs started acting out, and at no point has he gone in to like the Westminster tea rooms and started cracking heads and knocking heads together. Unless he starts doing that, he's got no authority. No MPs are listening to him. No one's going to listen to him either because they all know there's a general election around the corner. The best thing he could have done, was gone, if you don't, shape up, I'm going to call a general election. See if I don't. And if he'd done that and stuck to his guns and gone, right, general election, let's go. And he could point to them, that's your fault.
I think he's looking down the road for the speaking tour gigs that he's going to get after this. He's not bothered. He knows he's a rat on a sinking ship. He's like, fuck it.
Just go work for Musk.
Yeah, exactly. Go and do what's his chops did? I forgot his bloody name. The ex-leader of the Lib Dems, who's got to work for Meta.
Yeah,
I've forgotten his name now.
Bland and boring.
Nick
Clegg.
Yeah. I was trying to remember the name of the woman who lost the Lib Dems in the last election, and I couldn't.
Jo Swinson.
Jo Swinson, that's the one. Thank you, Darren. And it's funny because no one goes on and on and on about how she was wronged. Imagine every day you went on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, and trending was Jo Swinson, and you felt the eyes roll to the back of your head, going, "Oh God, what?" And they're like, "Oh, she was robbed. It was a scam. How dare she? She was the best leader we ever had." And I'm like, "She lost the freaking election. She lost your loads of seats. Like what? She's gone." But obviously, the Lib Dems are a bit more sensible than that.
Just to add a little bit of balance to it, you've got Keir Starmer, who is just completely kneecapping himself every day.
No, he's not.
Oh, he is.
They've increased their lead. The poll.
No.
Increased their lead against the Tories.
No, I'm talking about the Palestinian business.
Yeah, I know, but honestly, mate, it doesn't seem to be mattering. If I was seeing in the polls them losing 20%, against the Tories, then I'll be like, oh my God, change course, emergency. But the lead against the Tories this week. No, it's actually got the lead has got bigger this week. It's now up to 24 points.
No, but what I'm saying is about him not calling for a ceasefire. When that particular agenda is polling so high, and he's just too scared to say.
Well, no, I mean that's what I'm saying. I mean, look, if it was
he's heading the polls,
if If it was impacting Labour's lead, I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. I think he should be calling for a ceasefire.
Yeah.
Phil has some interesting, opinion on this, but I do think he should be calling for a ceasefire.
Yeah, the worst thing about British politics is that no one really cares when it comes to foreign policy. Like, foreign policy is not an election-winning issue.
Don't forget,
like
Labour
it or
won
not,
in
foreign
2005.
policy is not a election-winning issue.
Labour won in 2005 after they went into Iraq, and we knew it was nonsense at the time, and 1 million people marched against the invasion of Iraq back in 2003, and it happened anyway, and they still won the next election.
Yeah.
Which is, like Ollie says, it's a bit heartbreaking, really, for those of us who care about foreign policy and, what's happening in the rest of the world.
Oh, speaking of which, do you want to talk about something fun that happened this week? Because it was an
Yes,
yes, please. Are you going to tell us about Kazakhstan?
God, I love this. I love talking about this because this is just absolutely fantastic. So, context of what's happened. Right. Kazakhstan, prior to the Ukraine war, they and Russian relations were like that. There was seemingly no breaking them. They were really, really strong. And like 6 months before, there was a coup happened in Kazakhstan.
Yes.
Like the military attempted to sort of take over, and Russia sent in troops to stop this coup. And the president of Kazakhstan was like, "Oh my God, thank you so much, Putin. We owe you so much. How wonderful it is to have, Russian allies and be part of this incredible Russian
the
Commonwealth alliance that defends you if you call for help." As Armenia found out very recently, not much anymore.
Not so much.
Yeah. So along comes the Ukraine war. Putin picks up the phone and goes, "Hey, Kazakhstan, do you want to help us by sending troops and material to come help us in Ukraine?" No, thank you. So since then,
where'd you get this number?
Since then, relations have tanked massively to a point where you have had other Central Eastern countries, Armenia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, all are looking outwards beyond Russia because they can see the disaster that is unfolding in Ukraine and how badly this is going to affect them. So they're looking for other allies. And there has been this tradition where when Putin comes, him and the president give this big inaugural address. And the president of Kazakhstan is meant to speak in Russian. And the video on Twitter is you have, but first of all, Putin forgets his name. So he can't even remember the brilliant president of Kazakhstan's name. And then president of Kazakhstan,
Hamidov. Oh no, that's the leader of Turkmenistan. Sorry, go on.
And the leader of just starts speaking in Kazakhstan. And all the diplomats, including Putin, are just scrambling around like, "Oh my God, where's my translation device? Where is it?" It was an absolute flex.
Oh dear, Mr. Putin.
That's a decent flex.
And then it gets even better because after Putin left, the French diplomats announce that not only is Kazakhstan buying weapons from France, but they're also buying weapons, anti-air defense for Uzbekistan as well. So that's two former strong, Russian allies in Central Asia that have now said, we're not so hot on this friendship anymore. We're going to start, backing off.
Wow. But there's a lot of ex-Soviet states that are sort of like steering into sort of like trying to get into Europe, the EU, NATO, and all that because they can, as you say, they can see what's going on in Russia, and they're like, "Yeah, we're all right."
Brilliant, though. I always love it when Putin gets humiliated. But you know what? We're talking about all this stuff and Suella Braverman and Putin and China and everything else. And do you know what? It's not going to matter to shit if Trump gets in next year in America.
Well,
all bets are off at that moment.
We were talking about on
Thursday.
On Tuesday.
Yeah.
David Lammy has to have a plan for Ukraine if Donald Trump wins.
Yeah.
Like he has to have a backup plan if that happens. because all indicators are showing if Trump wins, then the vast majority of Republicans are going to abandon their support for Ukraine. And if that happens, that will be a big hit to Ukraine going forward. So there has to be a united European plan to go forward and to help Ukraine. Lammy has an opportunity where he can actually show that if Britain works together with other countries, we can get stuff done. Not if we just go out by ourselves, be this buccaneering nation saying, we'll do this and, you'll like it. And other countries turn around and go, who are you? Who are you?
But I think that if Trump wins, the first thing he's going to do is, what's this called? The Project 2025, which is to bring the Department of Justice under the executive control of the president.
Yeah.
The moment he does that, then there's going to be a civil war. It's as simple as that. America's just going to kick off. And they've got the weapons for it. And it's not as though the army can really use nuclear weapons to make peace. And so, you will see drone strikes on people's farms in Alabama. It's going to go pretty crazy pretty quickly. And you think about the impact on the economies around the world if America does go in that direction. Putin will be rubbing his hands with glee. He will then go and invade Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, possibly Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. Teach him a lesson for standing up to him.
Azerbaijan as well.
China's going to just be like...
I was going to say, China will be straight into Taiwan.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And the Spratly Islands is going to be Chinese forever. And I could see if America falls into enough carnage, the Chinese just saying, hey, do you fancy some America? Yeah, let's take some America. So if you're American and you're thinking of voting for Trump, could you just say, start brushing up on your Mandarin?
Yeah. No, I don't think it'll go that far.
Oh, really?
I don't think it'll go that far. The Chinese aren't interested in taking a part of America. I'm very doubtful it will come to a full-blown civil war either. I think it will cause a lot of trouble. But I think you will see civil disobedience. And then I think the military, even when January the 6th was happening, they were like, yeah, we're not going to back you, Trump. Not at all.
But he will be the commander-in-chief. He won't be the outgoing commander-in-chief. He will be the commander-in-chief. And they legally have an obligation under their stupid constitution to do what he tells them to do. And if he tells them to shoot unarmed protesters, outside the Lincoln Memorial, they will have to do it.
Yeah, no, we saw this during January the 6th.
Yes,
the military just went, we're not. If you gave us orders, we would not follow them.
No, but the DC police were just like opening gates and things like that. They were just like, yeah, go on then, you can go in. They were like, there's other footage of them showing protesters around the Capitol building. So you've got two branches there. You've got the military and you've got the police. If one is sympathetic, then you're going to create another dynamic of conflict.
I don't think the police are going to do that. After January the 6th, after the injuries that were caused to police officers, not only that, but a lot of police officers after January the 6th committed suicide because of the stress that they had suffered during January the 6th. So they are not the biggest fans of Trump. I don't think that's going to be likely anymore.
Hopefully not.
To be honest, I can't see that happening. Yeah.
Alan Barker in the chat is talking about the ongoing Saudi-led war against Yemen, in which a quarter of a million people have died, including 10,000 children, and there's 24 million people in dire need of humanitarian aid. No calls for ceasefire or marches. Why? Well, I'll explain that pretty quick because people don't know. It's as simple as that. You go up to people on the street and say, here's a map of the world, point to Yemen. And 99 out of 100 people won't know where it is. They don't know anything about it. They won't know its history. They won't know anything, historically that it's famous for. I think the Queen of Sheba may have come from Yemen back in the day. But apart from that, I don't know, if people know enough about it. And this is why you see a lot more agitation about what is happening in America more than any other country in the world because they make movies about it. They make so much noise about what they're doing. Everyone has an opinion on America because we've grown up with their culture. We've grown up with their bloody food and their awful architecture and their, quite good music.
And it's not just there. Myanmar as well. We all forget.
Yes.
Myanmar A coup happened in 2020, live on a yoga stream. We forget
and also
how we found that
I
out.
mean, even before then, the treatment of the Rohingya Muslims, leading to millions of Rohingya Muslims going to Bangladesh as refugees, where they're still living to this day. We didn't hear much about that. The one that really gets me, well, there's two of them. First of all, Sri Lanka in 2010 wiped out the Tamil Tigers, like literally wiped them out by just bombing all their villages to dust, where the places where they lived. And the one before that has got to be the two wars in Congo, which are arguably the great wars of Africa at the end of the 90s, in which literally millions of people died, and no one's heard of it. It didn't get any coverage because it just didn't affect Britain.
It doesn't affect the English speaking world, and this is where the tendrils of the Murdoch fucking empire have corrupted so many of our minds, because it's basically, if it doesn't happen in the English speaking world, it don't matter. Because I know more about what's going on in America right now than I do what's going on in France, Spain, Italy, Germany, like Sweden.
I get movies about themselves.
Yeah.
Every time they do something good, they make a movie. Every time they do something bad, they make a movie. And the one where they make a movie out of something bad they did, that usually wins the Oscars. But it's just the way things are. I mean, like, I had this conversation a lot about my travels around the world. People said, weren't you scared of traveling to all these, places like Afghanistan and Iraq and Sudan and Congo? And I was like, well, no. I mean, the sad reality is in life, if someone means you harm, it's usually someone that you know. And we have this outsized vision of how dangerous the world is, because every time a British holidaymaker, traveller, tourist, diplomat gets into a spot of bother, it's all over the front pages. So suddenly it's a country you've never heard of in Africa, in West Africa. It's been in. And suddenly it's all over the news. And that's the only thing you associate with that country, is that time that horrible thing happened to that tourist. And so you have this outsized idea about how dangerous the world is, when it is. I mean, obviously it's a bit more dangerous if you're a woman, but that's more to do with, deep-seated misogyny and the patriarchy. But when it comes to sort of the dangers of travel, I always think of it that way. I just think, well, it's amplified because no news is good news, essentially. I mean, none of the news that we get is good. to butcher that metaphor.
Well, remember when those two girls got banged up in South America for being like drug mules? That's the first time I've ever heard about that country. Because there was two British girls that have been arrested for being drug mules. Other than that, I hear nothing in the media about it.
Yeah,
none of South America. I mean, look at the 80s and the Contras and all that sort of stuff that went on in the back then, and the turmoil that there is now. The only time we hear anything about South America is Venezuela, because they're the socialist country.
Well, I don't know. You've got a pretty socialist leader now with Lula in Brazil.
But still, nothing. No coverage.
Yep. I mean, it can be. I think it's more difficult to find coverage for non, UK stories more than anything else. I think that's mainly the big part of the problem. And the other part is most people don't care about foreign affairs, even though it is incredibly important. Part of our politics, and Britain used to have a lot of soft power, to be able to sort of affect things like this. That's diminished quite a bit. It's not there anymore. And like I say, not enough people really talk about foreign affairs anymore. It's just the unfortunate state of things. And I will say that the left, especially, is really bad on foreign policy. Just look at when Ukraine started. There were a lot of people on the left when America was coming out with the information saying, hey, Russia is going to invade Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people on the left turning around and go, no, don't believe American intelligence.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people grew up recently, of course, with Iraq and Afghanistan, and that has affected a lot of people's view of foreign affairs. If America does something in a foreign country, it must be bad.
Yeah, because it's added to the skepticism around anything that America do. Because it's.
Would you feel safer? Here's a question for you. All right, I'm going to list you some places. So, Washington D.C., Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, New Mexico, South Carolina, and Haiti, the poorest country in the whole of the Western Hemisphere. Which of those 7 places has the lowest murder rate?
Oh, it's Haiti.
I was going to say, it's got to be Haiti. It's got to be Haiti.
The murder rate in Washington, D.C. is 30 per 100,000 residents, whereas the murder rate in Haiti is 13. Which is really high. I mean, ours is a lot lower than that. Ours is like 1. But yeah, I mean, you think about going to America on a family holiday. You don't think about it. You don't think, I'm going over to Florida. Which let's have a look at the crime stats in Florida here. If what's it called? What's this thing called?
Wikipedia.
Yeah. Wikipedia will indulge me. Yeah, it's 7.4. So you're 7 times more likely to be murdered on a holiday in Florida than you are in the UK.
There you go.
7 times more likely.
Can you do me a favor? Can you clip that and then email it me, and I'm going to send it to my American friends.
How are you still alive? But yeah, no, I mean it's just this idea of having this sort of outsized idea of the fear of the world. But the reason why we started talking about this in the first place is when something bad happens in the world, a lot of people jump on it and say, "Why aren't we talking about X, Y, Z?" And it's just, I mean, it's not great. It is the way it is because we've already got so much mind space that we can take with the bad news each day. If we were getting a news feed in telling us the deaths in Ukraine, the deaths in Yemen, the deaths in Eritrea, Ethiopia, in Darfur, in Sudan, where things are kicking off again there, and obviously in Gaza. I mean, it all becomes a bit too much for our fragile human psyches to take.
Yeah, I'm like I say,
that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes on when we do Geoscope, we could do every Tuesday, and it would be absolute doom and gloom. And I always try to look for some, bright hope or story that's happened around the world. Last week's good news story was the peace treaty between Armenia and Azerbaijan, which
very unexpected peace treaty.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
Going to bring peace to it. I hope that brings peace to it, but I'm still quite concerned that you've got a lot of very revanchist talk about linking up the gap between. If you look at like sort of Armenia, there's like this bit of Azerbaijan, and there's this little like strip of land. There's a lot of talk about retaking that.
Of Azerbaijan on the other side of Armenia, and the only way to get there really is through Armenia or Iran. And Iran don't get on with Azerbaijan either, do they? Yep. So, having some kind of corridor that people can travel along and not have to show their passport. I mean, when I was traveling in Uzbekistan, to go back to Uzbekistan, it's a bit better now, but they used to have the maddest borders in the world because there are all these little enclaves. So you imagine like you've got a country like this, and then you've got these little islands around the country, except the islands aren't in the sea. The islands are literally in someone else's country. So that's the situation in Uzbekistan, and also for Kyrgyzstan, not Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan. And so I had a visa for Uzbekistan, and it had 2 entries, right? So I could come in and out. Well, I could come in and out twice, right? And on my journey back so I was in Uzbekistan, went to Kazakhstan, and then I was Kyrgyzstan. Jesus. And then I tried to get back into Uzbekistan, but the road took me through an enclave of Uzbekistan, which I would have to go into, get stamped into like 50 meters down the road, get stamped out of, and then I would have used my double entry passport, my double entry visa. So in order to get around it, we had to drive off the main road and literally go around this enclave, almost like through fields, to get around the outside of this enclave, so I didn't have to get my passport stamped in and out on the way through. And that was like the situation in a lot of countries that used to be all one country, which was the USSR, and this includes Armenia and Azerbaijan. And when the USSR fell apart, it was kind of like, what are we going to do about all these little enclaves? And they were like, oh, just leave them. They'll be fine. and I mean, Central Asia, it's one of the most bureaucratic neighborhoods in the country, in the world. It's the most difficult to get, visas in and out of, and you have to get letters of invitation. You have to get jump through all kinds of hoops to get into these places. And then once you're there, Uzbekistan, you had to register where you were staying every night. You couldn't couch surf legally. There in, I think, Cuba, like couch surfing is technically illegal because you're not allowed to stay with people in case you give them Western ideas or something. There was a French couple who were staying at the same place that I was, and they went to a hotel and said, please, can we pay you some money and you can give us some of these little chitties, to say that you've been there for the night. And they went, yeah, just wait there. And they went out the back and they got the police and they went, arrest these two. And these two bloody poor French backpackers got deported out of the country for not having the correct thing to show where they've been staying for the past 2 nights.
Oh, dear.
It's a madness.
However bad you think things are in this country, they could always be worse. They could be a lot better as well. Yeah, indeed. Jazz wants to know, what can men do against such reckless hate? Which is a quote from... Oh, you're all off the quiz team. It's from a movie. Oh my God, that's going to do my head in. Spank Flaps, great name, says Trump would make Mike Flynn chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and Biden already put Flynn's brother in charge of the Army Pacific area. Which country did you feel the most unsafe? That's from David Downey. I'm tempted to say America.
I think that's a good shout. Just knowing how many guns are available in that country and how many people have guns, and you can buy them. You can just basically go to their version of Tesco's and buy a assault rifle. That's all right. I'm just going to go and get bread, milk, and an AR-15. Back in a minute.
Saudi Arabia. And I'll tell you why Saudi Arabia. It wasn't necessarily that I felt unsafe in terms of I thought that someone was going to do me harm. I was more worried about breaking one of the many rules in Saudi Arabia. I'll tell you a little story. So I'm in a restaurant on this dust road through the desert from the capital Riyadh to Jeddah. And we stop at this eating place. And eating places in Saudi Arabia are a bit weird because you've got where the men eat and then where the families eat, and they're separate. So you can eat, I think you can eat with your wife, but maybe not. Maybe the wife and the children have to be in one place and the husband has to be in the literally restaurant next door. They share a kitchen, but like the men and women can't mix. I went to the toilet and just, it was just a concrete thing to wee into, like a trough. And as I'm weeing, I think to myself, that's a bit weird. Why are there taps above the urinal? Like that, normally it's automatic or something, but I thought, it must just be to wash out, the wee. You just turn the taps on it. And then I started thinking, shit, to washing your fucking feet before you pray. Because obviously if you're Muslim, you have to pray several times a day and you have to wash your hands and feet before you do so. And oh my God, when you're just like mid-wee and you're like, oh my God, stop.
So was you weeing in their hand and feet washing facility?
Yes, I was, Wayne. And if I'd been caught by the religious police over there, they would have drawn me and quartered me. I was so lucky that that no one came in and went, what are you doing? What are you doing pissing into our baptismal font, you crazy bastard? So I was a bit on edge in Saudi Arabia, but I couch surfed with a really cool guy at the time, whose name was Turkey, and he Turkey with a night, and he took me around the place, and he was quite cool. And Jeddah in general seemed a bit more laid back than the rest of Saudi Arabia, so I was a little less worried. Although sort of getting in and out of countries, I think Central Asia and Saudi Arabia just really stuck out as places that it was really hard to travel to. Bit easier now though. I think you could turn up and just get a visa on the door. That's in Saudi Arabia. which is a bit easier than it used to be. Captain Bart Roberts is telling us that he's never drank sorghum beer. So there you go.
Don't even know what that is.
And Billy's just says India trade deal. ... Which is my theory about why Rishi Sunak hasn't resigned yet. Or
Yeah, I think he's trying to get that.
General election.
I think he's going to try and get that over the line and then just mic drop. Just be like, yeah, see, sorted it. Bye.
I don't think he's going to get it. I don't think he's going to get it at all. I think this is India trying to play the long game like they played with Australia, because they did the same thing with Australia and they went, well, you can have these minor things, and it wasn't any major trade deal. It was, well, we'll discuss a bigger trade deal down the line, and 10 years later nothing's happened. I think the same thing's going to happen with us.
I think one of the biggest stumbling blocks is the caveat that India are introducing, is that we need to guarantee a certain amount of work visas.
Yep.
And that's not going to go down well with the conservative base. Can we send a few more brown fellas over? Is that all right? Yeah. So not sure that's going to work.
No.
No, the conservative right, I think, will be very upset. I think if you were to announce the visa access, which, to be honest, I think is what Suella Braverman's pushing back on, from what we've heard. Internally, so yeah.
Yeah, well, she's one of these people that like to pull up the drawbridge after she's cushy. So I'm all right.
Yeah.
The rest of you can fuck off.
Yeah. Well, that was it. That was a thing that I saw as someone had posted as a meme. It was like Suella Braverman and Priti Patel sat next to each other, and the thing was like, both these Home Secretaries would have let neither other parents into the UK.
Yeah.
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 Wouldn't let their own parents into the UK. That's a damning indictment, isn't it, of where we are right now? Fucking ladder kickers.
Yeah, but it's classic conservatism, because if you think like back to the 80s and the right to buy, everyone who bought their own council house back in the day is now sitting there condemning everyone who's like renting or in council houses now. Oh, they're all scumbags and ponces and all this stuff. Where'd you get that from, mate? Where'd you get that house from?
Tommy's asking in the chat about spending time in America during the Christmas season. It was odd to experience summer during Christmas. That's not America, that's Australia. I think you meant Australia, Tommy. But I spent many Christmases actually in Australia because I had an Australian girlfriend. And one of the best things about Australian Christmases, especially in Victoria, is all the trains are free on Christmas Day. How good is that? Yeah.
How are the trains even running on Christmas Day? The
trains run on Christmas Day and they're free. There you go. It's a reduced service, but I mean, it's free because it's Christmas. Isn't that nice?
Who the fuck is going anywhere on a train on Christmas Day? I
don't know. But it is, I mean, seeing New Year in at a beach party, do you know what I mean? With some fire on the beach and stuff, that's a lot better than the way we do it. I don't mind having Christmas in the middle of winter because it feels like, something that you should have in the middle of winter. But New Year is definitely better in the summer. Oh, that's all I can say.
But isn't it all still black and white up in the north where you are?
It's black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been desaturated by the Tories. We used to have a beautiful red wall. It was the most beautiful wall you've ever seen. And then the Tories came and knocked it down. Like a bunch of Mexicans with ladders. And
now you're all little match girls looking through the window.
Did you ever see that Trump clip? Did you ever see that Trump clip where he says, no one can get over my wall, it's 40 foot high, no one can get over my wall's amazing. Well, I suppose they could use a ladder and a rope. And then you could see him thinking about it in his head going, yeah, well, I mean, I'm hoping no one does that, but literally, people just come along with a ladder, up they go, and then they tie a rope to because it's a, they have to be able to see through it. So there's a thing to tie your rope to, and they just grapple down on the other side.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's built like a mile of wall.
Just get tooled up with an old school Batman utility belt, and you're straight over.
Yeah. And they built this wall in the middle of the desert when no one was trying to get across. Do you know what I mean? It's just...
Yeah.
You've even seen videos of people just scaling it. And
Yeah.
just like,
Just legging
or-
up it, just grabbing hold of it and pulling
walking
themselves up.
around it when I haven't finished it.
Yeah. Walking
Oh,
around going, I'm in America now.
Yeah.
See you later. But yeah, it is like it is this weird mentality that a lot of people have. I mean, I don't want to say all older people, obviously, because it's not all older people, and hashtag not all old people. But there's a lot of people who just think, like Rishi, like Suella Braverman, I'm here, I made it, quick, put up the drawbridge, because if more people come, it'll damage my way of life. And we need to get this message out that actually we need more people, because we have much older, getting, our average age is getting older because we're not having as many kids. Our fertility rate is only 1.4, 1.5, so it needs to be at least 2.1 to replenish our own population. We need young people coming from other places around the world to live here, to look after us and do the jobs. It's as simple as that. And when we had the EU, that was brilliant because people could have free movement around the continent and they could just work wherever they wanted to for a bit and then go home if they wanted to raise a family, which a lot of people did. But yeah, we need people to come in. They're a good thing. You saw in Germany, they took in a million refugees in 2016. Was it 2016 or 2017?
Yeah.
And their economy is fine. You know what I mean? It's a bit sluggish, but it's nowhere near as bad as ours.
Well, to link all of this together, you've got to think there's a huge generation of people that are renting and getting older. What happens when they retire?
Yeah.
You know, there's the housing stock is shite. There's no guaranteed pensions anymore. So we need more people coming in to do the jobs for when people our age retire.
It's not like these people who took early retirement, final salary, early retirement, redundancy payments in the 1990s, who are still not working to this day, and now they're in their early 80s, and they've contributed. I mean, you could argue the interest on their savings maybe that gets taxed, but apart from that, I mean, the reality is that they've not worked for up to 3 decades.
Yeah.
And it's not like the amount of money they earned while they were working back in the 60s and 70s actually covers that.
And not only that, they're not generating now.
Today who are paying for their pension. They're paying for their new cars and the chance to go on a cruise every 6 months. Not that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they're not generating anything now. All they're doing is, living off the income from their council house that they bought in the 80s and just taking the piss, really. And then having a moan at people our age for I don't
mind them taking the piss, mate. I mind them kicking the ladder away for the rest of us. That's my problem.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you had it good, so stop moaning. And I find especially when I'm dealing with people who are older, and obviously not all older people. I know a lot of older people watch this stream, so honestly, I'm not talking about you, but a large proportion of older people seem really, really bitter when they've got no reason to be, because they bought the house for £2.50 back in 1963 and now it's worth $500,000. I mean, I'd be happy.
but Graham, you're not working hard enough.
I know.
You can't have an avocado toast.
I was thinking about this the other day. I've been working since I was 11 years old. I used to work at my dad's carburettor shop in Muirhead Avenue in Liverpool, fixing carburettors and stuff. And every Saturday, my mates go off the match and stuff like that, and I'd have to be at my dad's garage, fixing cars and stuff.
So for younger viewers, a carburettor is a way of getting fuel and oxygen into the combustion unit of an engine.
Yeah, superseded by fuel injection, which didn't need it in the 1990s.
Thank you for filling me in.
If you ever want a carburettor for a classic car, get in touch, because when my dad retired, he literally filled up our shed in the back garden with carburettors. We have carburettors for all these classic cars.
Have you got any Weber Twin 40s?
Yeah, definitely Weber Twin 40s. We've got Weber, Solex, Delauto, lots of Nicky carburettors. Yeah, all of them.
Nice.
One Angry Pagan, thank you very much for the first super chat of the night. Thank you. This is what happens when Tan isn't on. We only get one super chat. But thank you very much, Angry Pagan. Evening peeps. Just got back from a trip to Barnstable. Back to Torbay, fairly comfortable and speedy trains. probably the only good thing that Devonians have. They have cream, don't they? Isn't cream from Devon?
Well, yeah.
I think so. Is there anything else in Devon that we like? There's lots of Tories in Devon, isn't there? We don't like them.
So is Teignmouth in Devon?
Teignmouth.
Yeah.
Wasn't he in Brookside?
No, Teignmouth, the town.
Teignmouth.
Teignmouth.
I don't know.
I'm
Do
pretty
you know what?
sure.
I've never been to Devon, mate. Never been to Devon.
Right.
Never been to Cornwall. Never been to Stonehenge.
Because
I've been to Stonehenge.
I've been to the Stonehenge of Tonga, but I've never been to our actual Stonehenge. Maybe you're missing me.
So Teignmouth gave us the greatest band in the world, Muse. So yeah, there's something else that Devon have given us.
What was that? GB News.
Shut up.
To be fair, that lad's got a great voice in him.
Yeah,
I've heard that they're pretty good live. Really good live.
They're fucking amazing. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see them on this particular tour. First time in 15 years I've not seen them.
Who's this?
Muse.
Muse. Oh, yes. I've seen Muse. They were at the Leeds Festival many moons ago.
Yeah, but the ticket prices now are just absolutely ridiculous.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I went to see Ash down in London a few weeks ago, and the actual gig didn't cost anything, but it wasn't that expensive. But the actual getting to the gig,
Yeah,
it was a freaking kidney. So much. I was like, oh my god.
tell me about it.
Jeff True, Graham, have you not been to every country without flying? Yes, I've been to every country without flying, but I haven't been to Stonehenge. There you go. But I'm not proud of it. It's not like one of these people go, I've never seen Star Wars. Look at me. I've never seen Star Wars. And you're like, well done. We'll write that on your grave. It lies Jeff. He never saw Star Wars. Good on Jeff.
One of my mates the other day admitted to me that he's never seen Top Gun.
Oh, what a bastard. Has he seen Top Cat?
And he slapped him.
Has he seen Top Secret?
I don't know.
I've never seen Top Gun, so...
What? Right, now you're going to tell me you've never seen the Goonies.
I've seen the Goonies.
The Goo what?
Yeah.
The Goo Badleys.
Yeah.
I've
seen the Goo. I didn't see it in theatres, though.
To be fair, when it came to Top Gun, I only watched it about maybe last year because my wife has it on DVD. It's just something I've never really had the opportunity to watch.
This is shocking to me.
In fact, this will reveal my age or close to my age. The first film I ever remember going to see in cinemas was Disney's Aladdin.
Wow.
Right, so
cool. That's pretty cool.
First film I went to watch was Puff the Magic Dragon.
I don't even know what that is.
Now I am showing my age.
I thought that was a nursery rhyme. I didn't know they actually made a movie of it.
I think
the first movie I remember seeing at the cinema, and this is mad, I just looked it up and it came out in 1980, so I don't know how the hell I remember going to see it. It was Herbie Goes Bananas.
I think it'd have been about 74, 75 when I went.
I think the first one I went to see was the original Jurassic Park.
Oh wow! Oh, you little vapscallion. I remember seeing Jurassic Park because we went to see it after we'd just been to Alton Towers. We'd had a day trip to Alton Towers with the school, and we got back and then we went, let's go and see. I know when you're a kid and you just got loads of energy, like I've been on roller coasters all day. Let's go to Jurassic Park. So that was good. But yeah, the one film that really stuck in my head as a kid, I saw Ghostbusters at the cinema, which is quite cool. I saw not Rage of the Park.
Oh, there's a new Ghostbusters coming out.
Last Crusade. But the one that's really stuck in my head that really freaked me out as a child was Return to Oz. The sequel to The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, that's the one with the wheelies, isn't it?
Yes! Absolutely. And there's a queen and she changes her head and she puts different heads on.
Yeah.
Depending on her mood.
Yeah, that was the same sort of era as like Dark Crystal and them sort of fantasy films, wasn't it?
Yeah. Dark Crystal was a bit gruesome as well. Well, it's a bit scary with the Skeksis. Angry Pagan, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Stonehenge is in Wiltshire. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying there were a few places I haven't been to. I was just listing them. We have at least 6 stone circles in Dartmoor. And yes, Tynemouth is in, is it Teignmouth? Teignmouth?
Teignmouth.
Tynemouth is up near Newcastle. Is in Devon, not far from Torbay. There you go. True story. Was Fawlty Towers set in Torbay? Am I just making that up?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I've never watched Fawlty Towers.
What?
Oh,
Oh,
classic.
mate, just take some time out, go and watch it. You think about all the
Classic.
crap
Fawlty
that you
Towers.
watched in your life, and you could have been watching Fawlty Towers.
Although I will tell you, I will say this now because I will die on this hill. I think Hello is better than Fawlty Towers.
Whoa,
What? Get out!
I saw a tweet.
Ollie has been expunged from this chat.
I saw a tweet the other day that I think about a couple of days ago saying that 41 years ago on this day, the Young Ones first came out. Oh my God, that brought me back.
Yeah, great show. Great show. Everyone's saying it's Torquay, not Torbay, so it's set in Torquay, Fawlty Towers, or Flowery Twats.
Yeah,
it's also known.
Right, I'm doing a poll on my YouTube channel. What's better, Fawlty Towers or Hello?
Or Hello, the fallen Madonna with the big boobies.
Right, but you got to remember, Fawlty Towers was only what, 8 episodes or something like that.
12.
Oh, 12. 12,
Was it 12
yeah.
episodes,
12.
yeah.
And Hello ran for what?
And for
7 years?
ages. Even though at one point God did try and kill, is it Golden K who played the main guy? He almost got taken out by that big mad storm in like 1988.
Yeah, because I remember it was 1987.
Well, there you go.
And
Chris team.
The next series, he had that big scar on his forehead. I remember that.
Yeah. Farty Owls, says Jess Hunt. Hello is a great end of the pier type comedy, but Fawlty Towers is a masterclass in comedy writing. I couldn't agree more. And that's from F. Tumsk.
Lefty it's live. It's live.
No
votes.
Don't mention the war.
Okay.
Lefty Boater says, I've had the misfortune of watching Mrs. Brown's Boys, and Lefty Boater, I'm very sorry for your loss.
Right, I'm gonna do another controversial thing. I don't think Monty Python's funny.
Ooh, are you actually a lady, Wayne? Are you a lady? Do we have to get J.K. Rowling on the phone? She'll be freaking out. You're using the wrong toilets, Wayne.
No,
I can see why. I can see why, because it is quite smug and upper class. It's a very upper class comedy. Someone just had a moan at me in the chat there for always going on about private schools so much. So I'm just going to put my link in there to Private School Mafia. A list of 700 celebrities that you've all heard of who all went to private. 700 people on the list. Don't tell me it doesn't matter that you went to private school. I was watching a clip today of Davina McCall, someone who I've always had time for, actually. I did like her when she used to do MTV with Ray Cokes. He have a show called Clean Our Souls.
Yeah.
Was it Ray Cokes? Oh God, that was a long time ago. But yeah, she used to be a heroin addict in her early 20s, and I was just watching this interview, going, "How the hell were you a heroin and cocaine addict at the age of 21? I mean, like, how did you have the money for that?" And then I thought, oh, she went to private school, didn't she? And I looked it up, and she did.
You got to remember, she's that exact generation of the Paulie Yates and that ilk in the 90s, like Big Breakfast kind of era.
Yeah,
that was all off their tits all the time.
Allegedly. We've got to get Terry Christian on this show so he can tell us some of the stories about the 90s.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, the word was fucking hell. Everyone that was on there was normally off their tits.
Yes, they were. Yeah.
I mean, they even did a feature, didn't they? I'll do anything to be on TV. And you had a geezer like eating like a large sandwich.
The hopefuls. Yeah. Someone would like lick the armpit of a sumo wrestler, a very sweaty sumo wrestler and stuff like that.
Dear.
Yeah.
You know what TV program I wish I had come up with?
Hang on, let me think. Ghostwatch. No. Teletubbies. No. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Sorry?
Deal or No Deal.
That was in Australia. That was an Australian format TV show. That was in Australia before it was here.
Deal or No Deal has been like replicating pretty much every single country around the world.
Yeah.
So Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah. So Top Gear when it came back in 2002 with that dickhead Jeremy Clarkson, also privately educated. But they made it very, very successful. It was a huge money-making machine for the BBC for a very long time. But then he punched a producer because his sandwich was cold, and then poor old Freddie Flintoff bloody had his face smashed in this crash that we don't know much about from last December.
Apparently the crash only happened at 30 miles an hour. He done some fucking damage.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of pictures of him, and it don't look right good, does it?
He looks like he's been put through the mill, poor guy. Anyway, back to private schools. Some of the private schools are stage schools and dance academies, Graham. Bit harsh to lump them in with Eton and Harrow. No, it's not harsh at all, because the point is that if you are rich, it is so much easier to get a job as an actor, as a presenter, as a dancer, as anything you want to do in life, because you've got the money back to back you. And it's not necessarily about what these kids learn in these schools, although that does worry me, the fact that people like Braverman and Boris Johnson and Cameron and all the people I hate, nearly all of them went to private school. Jonathan Gullis went to private school, for Christ's sake. I mean, what are they teaching in these places? It's not to be a nice person. But aside from that, we live in a society where if you are rich and you are born into a rich family, you can follow your dreams. That's why the Oscar-winning British actors like Benedict Cumberbatch, Olivia Colman, anyone on Game of Thrones pretty much went to private school. Well, they were born into money.
I'm gonna circle back to your the person in chat's point. Most people that that are famous artists went to Sylvia Young or went to the Brit School. That is not free. And
oh, well, hang on. No, the Brit School. Oh, that's a bit of an awkward one, because the Brit School you can get in there free, can't you?
Yeah, but you have to get like a scholarship.
I specifically haven't included the Brit School on my list because it's a bit.
It's a grey area.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I think that's what that person was just saying. FT Tumskuk was just saying about some of the dance academies and stuff, which I get. But I mean, I would like a situation in which everyone is given a chance, and it always, it pissed me off as a kid, right? That I went to a football school, whereas I was way better at rugby, because I'm just built for rugby. I'm not built for football. I can't kick a ball for shit. That's probably why I support Everton. Just like my team. But I didn't go to a school that played rugby, so there was just no opportunity to do that, and it pisses me off now. When I was in school, musical education was free, so I learned to play the trumpet, and I could also play the piano as well. Nowadays,
are you Sonia Jackson?
Guitar, you've got to pay. Sorry, you knew Sonia Jackson.
No, I said so you can play the trumpet, so you're Sonia Jackson of this show.
Yes. No, I always wanted to be. Someone put on a thread the other day, which drummer inspired you the most, or something like that. And I think it was just meant for drummers. But I put Animal from the Muppets. My dad used to call me Animal when I was a kid, because I had all this mad red hair everywhere. And he just thought I looked like Animal from the Muppets. And that's who I wanted to be when I grew up. One Angry Pagan, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. I grew up watching Porridge, fantastic show. The Two Ronnies, again, fantastic. Red Dwarf, absolutely brilliant. Blackadder, brilliant. British Empire, brilliant. Only Fools and Horses, etc. And not even 30 yet. A good childhood. So thank you, One Angry Pagan. I mean, we watched that at the time when it was out. British Empire was bloody hilarious.
British Empire was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. There's been a lot of really good stuff. Charlotte says Terry Christian is a communist. Yeah. And he's not really.
Actually, there was. I wish Tansky was here tonight, because we've got to praise her clapback against Nadine Dorries.
Oh, I missed it. What happened? When was this? Is this week?
Nadine Dorries tweeted out.
I haven't been on
For the many who don't understand, Right Honourable is still in my bio because I'm still a Privy Councillor, to which she responded, more like a Divvy Councillor.
That's so simple but brilliant.
Bravo. God bless you.
Check about time.
God bless you.
Well, we've had Cavill, our mate Cavill, has left the BBC this week because they don't want her to put things on social media, which just seems absolutely bonkers to me. And just how are they going to enforce this? How are they going to have presenters on any of the panel shows? How are they going to say to Stephen Fry, Oh, sorry, mate. You're not allowed to tweet
can't.
things about the government. You're not allowed to tweet things about how religion's nonsense. You might upset someone.
Well,
And he'll be like, piss off.
Well, this is why James left Newsnight, because at the time Trump was in, and obviously he's got his own profile on Twitter, and the BBC's code of conduct said that you can't have these kind of opinions because you have to stay neutral. But this is his own private account, and it's just like, do you know what? I can't do this. And like getting a gig at Newsnight was as a political broadcaster, that's a massive gig.
Yeah.
And then they just completely hamstrung him. And he's like, no, can't do it anymore. Bye.
Respect to James O'Brien. Respect, man. I mean, for saying to the people, because it is a big hand to bite. I've got to say, having possibly been there myself, my friend, on a smaller scale. But yeah, it is the only show in town if you're British, and you don't really want to live in another country. FT said you have to pay for music lessons these days because schools have had to cut back thanks to the Tories, and non-essential subjects like music have paid the price. However, over half of the money that private schools save by not having to pay VAT and not having to, having charity status. So basically they're a private institution, it's in the name, but a private enterprise, but they get to keep like most of their money by saying, oh no, it's all right, we're giving it to needy children. In fact, only 1 in 100 children that go to private school in this country get a full scholarship, a full bursary. And most of the money that is recouped by these private enterprises goes on musical instruments and sporting equipment for the children of millionaires. Say that again. Sporting equipment and musical instruments. This is while you are having to pay loads out for your kids' PE equipment, having to pay for them to have guitar lessons in school or whatever they're learning. And it's just, the imbalance is just mind-blowing. And one of the things that Labour is going to do when it comes into power is make these private schools pay VAT, which I completely agree with, but I just see it as one step on the road to eliminating them entirely and actually having a written constitution. And all my written constitution is going to say is, let's all have a good time and let's get rid of the private schools. That's it. I think that's the Finnish constitution.
And that sporting equipment probably comes from Sports Direct, which then funds Mike Ashley.
Yeah, indeed. But it's high-end stuff. It's why if you look at the Olympic Games, a lot of the people who win in the stuff that you need expensive equipment for, like yachting and rowing, are all from that class group of people. But yeah, our Bill of Rights should be, I'm going to write it down here, be excellent to each other.
100%. That should just be it. That should
just
be the mantra for life.
Why are you putting me in jail? Because you haven't been excellent.
You weren't excellent.
You weren't excellent.
Sorry, you weren't.
I think Starmer should have it under his plinth. Be excellent to each other. I think that should be his mantra now. For
Jez says, to be fair, he can be mocked for his height and for being a terrible person. I hear he purposely stunted his own growth so he could buy kids' clothes and save on VAT.
He buys a size 5 trainer.
Yeah, I know. Look, I mean, the thing is, on especially on this channel, we want to try and keep things a little bit light, because obviously if we do get into the doom and gloom of it all, it is pretty bloody depressing. Yeah. Not least because we have the sword of Damocles that is climate change hanging over our very heads, and the last 12 months have been the hottest on record since literally, I don't want to say records began, but since humanity began, like 500,000 years ago. I mean, like, seriously. Anyway, but yes, jumping into a few funny ad hominems about the way Suella Braverman looks, or the fact that Rishi Sunak's a half-arse, or do you know what I mean? I think it's kind of necessary.
Short pants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is his pants short? I don't understand.
Surely
you can get long enough pants.
It's just little Rishi Sunak. That's all.
He's only this big.
Yeah.
He's only this
That's our little prime miniature.
Have you seen all the stuff about Ron DeSantis being figured out that he's like wearing secret high heels?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So he's got uplifts in his shoes, and Trump has just made up about this. Like, one of the things that Trump likes to do is be the big man in the room because he thinks he's like Kingpin from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And so he goes on about did he Rick Sanctimonious, he calls him. Which is, the thing is about Trump is he is a bully. He is an absolute playground bully, and some 100%. People find that really appealing.
That man's never been told no.
Yeah.
So he just runs with it. I'll do
same with Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
Never been told no.
Oh, have you seen the stuff about George Santos?
What's he done now? What's he lied about now?
He's basically getting kicked. They're trying to kick him out of the Republican Party because he's just shit.
But they've only got a majority of 4. If they get rid of him, they're going to have a majority of 3.
No, but we was watching some footage from Congress the other day, and there's these 3 New York Republicans who basically, it looks like the Sopranos. They're basically trying to politically whack him. And he's sitting there in this very ill-fitting jumper and ill-fitting jacket, trying to defend himself when he's been called out. And it's like, hang on, mate, here's some receipts. This is what you lied about. And he's going, oh, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. He's just the most useless politician. Just have a word with yourself, mate. Because he's the guy that came out and said, oh yeah, I'm of Jewish heritage. And then when he got called out, he went, no, I said I was Jewish.
Oh my God. A lot of friends of mine are Jews, so I'm Jewish. Charlotte Davis just pointed out James O'Brien hates private schools and yet went to private school, and now he sends his kids to private school. Yeah, and James O'Brien talks about this, and he says he thinks they should be banned as well. If they didn't exist, he wouldn't have the choice, but he does have the choice. So obviously he's going to do what's best for his kids to give them the leg up that a lot of people who went to private school now claim that they didn't have. And that's I'm like, come on. To
be fair, they were in normal schools their entire life.
I thought they went to private school.
No.
Oh well, he says on the radio that his kids went to private school.
No.
Has he not?
No, they went to a state school just round the corner. All
right. Okay. I believe you. You know him. I don't. Well, there you go. That's you told in the chat. Charlotte, whoever it was, Charlotte.
Yeah, I was at his gig just the other day, so all right, I don't know. Also, I little bit of insight.
But it's like I understand why you would want to send your kid to private school. Absolutely. Yeah, and if I went to private school, I'd be made up. I'd be like,
I had a row with his publishers.
You had a row with his publishers?
Yeah. So
say, Wayne, don't have people's publishers.
No. What it was, he'd gifted me a ticket. I went to the venue. Mm-hmm. They took my name, said, yeah, in you go. Didn't give me a ticket or any sort of seat allocation. So I did what I normally do when I go to one of James's gigs. I'll go to the reserved bit and I'll sit there. But the publishers had, in their understanding, reserved the entire row. And there's me and my mate Alex sitting there. And they're going, you need to get out. So they've got someone from the venue to come over and say, excuse me, you can't sit here. I went, why can't I sit here? Oh, it's reserved for these people. And I went, hold up, I'm his guest. I'll go to the reserved bit every single time. And then there was a bit of a back and forth, and I was like, they're his publishers. And I was like, I don't give a you know? I'm sat down. I ain't going anywhere. I said, you've not given me a ticket. There's no. It's not like, because the venue was it was a chapel, so you're basically sitting in pews. So there's no seat numbers or row numbers or anything like that. I just went straight to the reserve bit, explained my thing, and then they all went, do you know what? You got a good point. Stay where you are.
Stand your ground.
Exactly. Well, sit my ground.
Oh yeah, sit your ground, should I say?
Yeah, that's just a little bit of banter. It weren't a row. It was just like they was like, "Who's this geezer sitting in our seat?" sort of thing. And I thought, I'm Wayne and Basildon, mate. Do one.
Yeah.
Just to.
Are you that Wayne?
I'm causing trouble.
I only signed 3 books.
Cheeky sod. I wish I had someone to sign my books. I wish I could sell some books and then people could sign them. One angry pagan says, I introduced my sister to you guys when I was in Barnstable and showed her Starmer tearing Sunak a new one after the King's speech. She was very impressed. Oh, thank you very much, One Angry Pagan. One extra viewer out there. And thank you very much for the super chat. So someone had said earlier, have you seen the text messages between the Tory MPs? Have you guys seen this?
No.
The text messages. So this is on
Sky
News a few hours ago.
Ooh.
So I'm just going to fade it in. So if you're watching the relay, you should be able to see it on the screen now.
Yeah,
It's John Hayes saying, so sad to see protests being allowed at Remembrance Weekend. Wholly inappropriate. We should speak for law-abiding patriotic majority for saying so. And then we've got Jackie Doyle-Price saying, there is a right to protest. They're not allowed, in inverted commas. Colleagues are making noise about them and are simply advertising them and will make them bigger as a consequence.
Yep.
And John Hayes says they've been allowed by the Chief Constable who could have requested that they stop. When Bernard Jenkin jumps in, and am I the only Conservative MP who thinks it's most important that the Chief of the Met Police is being placed under public pressure from the government, which threatens to compromise public confidence in its operational independence? If he does not ban demonstrations, some will say he's given into political pressure. These conversations should be conducted in private without undermining public confidence in policing in London. And then William Ragg says, no, you're not the only one. Jackie Deutsch-Pyle says, no, you're not. And then you're not the only one. And then Danny Kruger comes in. Didn't notice or staying quiet when the cops dragged off women at the Sarah Everard vigil or allowed BNP to demonstrate with impunity. Of course, we and the government should comment on how the police operate and note how Home Secretary isn't calling for Met to request a ban, though they should, in my opinion, just to enforce the law. Of course, it didn't enforce the law, e.g. against face coverings or racist chants, there would be serious disorder, and so there would be reason to request a ban. The only way to avoid total disorder is to tolerate the intolerable, to allow the illegal. Okay. And then Django says, police can't ban protests. They cannot ever place restrictions on them. And then we've got Danny Kruger saying, thank you, Jonathan. I don't think we need non-political oversight of the police. The setup is right. Basically, without reading all of this, it's these Tories tearing themselves apart, saying, oh my God, we should be stopping the police. And then half of them saying that we shouldn't. And then half of them saying, well, what about freedom of speech? And then it ends with this, which is wonderful, which is William Ragg saying, I've had enough of this rubbish. so yeah, there you go. That's the talk. Ladies and gentlemen, the governing party
have you seen the one above
United
it?
Kingdom of
Did you see the one above it? Jill Mortimer accusing people of leaking the WhatsApp messages.
Where's that?
God,
on WhatsApp, because some colleagues are trustworthy, disgraceful leakers, like Leaky Sue. Leaky Sue.
Oh,
There it is, mate. There it is. These people are in charge of the country. They shouldn't be allowed to run a fucking bath.
This is what we're left with now after 13 bloody years. Absolute. Oh, you know, like you when you're at school, you've got like the top tier, like the big lads and the boffins and all that, and then you've got the weird kids that like eat sand, right? That's who's in charge of that. The weird kids that eat sand. Yeah. All the other ones have done one. So it's got to be a general election next year. It's got to be, and Labour have got to get in, and they need to get all their ducks in a row and do this properly, because we have been turned over by this bunch of absolute muppets for so long now.
They are absolute muppets. They really are. Yeah. Look, someone said on the chat the other day on one of my shows, they said, every day now is one day closer to yeeting the Tories out of office, the day that the Tories are no longer running this country. So that's put a spring in my step. That's made me smile every morning. Because usually what I do is I wake up in the morning and I'm like, has he died? And I'm thinking of the orange one in America. And unfortunately, every morning I wake up and he hasn't. So that sort of puts me in a bad mood for the rest of the day. Especially if someone who I actually like and respect has popped their clogs, and yet Trump remains. So, I've got to take the wins where I can. So I'm thinking of it that way.
He who remains.
He who remains. Oh my God.
Yeah.
How is he still going? He's like 76, is he? 76? And he eats burgers for breakfast, and he's really, really unhealthy. And
and looks like he should be in Towie, one of the Towie people's granddads or something.
Do you know probably why he's lasted so long? He doesn't have stress.
Yeah,
because no one said no to him. He's never been stressed about money. He's never been stressed about anything bad happening to him because he just thinks he's above everything. Same with Boris Johnson. I think they just go on forever. It's Robert Mugabeism. He went to 93.
Remember when you saw the before and after pictures of like Obama when he first got in and Tony Blair when he first got in, and then when they left
10 years later.
The state of them.
Yeah. The world on the shoulders.
Trump looks exactly the same.
Because he just spent every day going out playing golf while his country crumbled around him, and he banned women from being able to use their own bodies. How dare you use your own bodies? We're going to stop that immediately. So we're more like Saudi Arabia. There's a fantastic episode of American Dad by the same guy who does American Family Guy. And he goes over to Saudi Arabia and he loves it. It's like the American Patriots, and he's just like, oh my God, you get to treat women like shit. Oh, that sounds fantastic. Everyone's got a gun. That's brilliant. Yeah. And there's horrible things that happen to, people in Saudi Arabia. That's what a big chunk of the American population, and to be fair, the British population would like to see in their own countries.
Seth MacFarlane's. Sorry, go on.
No. I just wanted to say. I was just going to say. I know what you mean because, like, I looked at my Facebook feed. I can't remember when it was. A couple of days ago. Few me city mates who said that Suella Braverman. She's bang right, And you think,
oh,
yeah.
And half the time I say to myself, shall I say something? I think, no, banging my head against the brick wall. Because like somebody posted a meme about looking after our old people and send them on the boats back and all that. And they're all chomping at the. Me, I just went. Remember that bit where Tim Loughton scolded on about these boats in that Home Affairs Select Committee. I think it was about 12 months ago when I asked about safe routes and stuff like that. And she went, which Africa? Where she says, imagine I'm a 15-year-old boy. And then she basically said that the best way, if you want to claim asylum, all you've got to go is get here.
Yeah.
And she basically said they were quite a bit loud. So I just plonked that in the chat and I just went, hope that helps, and just left.
Yeah, good.
But
that is it. That is it. I mean, we have a way of claiming asylum in this country if you're from Hong Kong or Ukraine, and maybe from Afghanistan, but that remains to be seen because so many people have been let down by that system.
I think Afghanistan's only 15 people, I believe.
15 people, my God. So if you're from anywhere else, the only way that you can claim asylum in this country is to step foot on British soil and then say, I claim asylum. So the fact that we have so many people coming over in small boats, it's entirely the fault of the government. They're basically giving money to people smugglers. And don't forget, like, dozens of people have been killed making these crossings. Children, women, been killed coming over on these boats because the Tories are just absolutely horrible. And they've got one win so far, which is they've got a return agreement with Albania, which stops it is about 10%, maybe less, of people who are claiming asylum are actually from Albania and they don't actually need asylum. They're coming here for economic reasons. Then other 9 out of 10 people are genuine asylum seekers who have made their way from North Africa, from the Middle East, from places where things are a bit shit at the moment. And they thought they were going to die if they stayed there. Most people don't leave. Most people, especially family units, especially women and children, do not leave their hometown unless they absolutely massively have to. Why would you leave that support network? Why would you leave your family? Why would you leave your friends? Unless you were desperate.
It's not only that. This is the other misnomer that people seem to latch onto. If you are from a country such as that, you're going to send the strongest bloke in your unit to go and become like an anchor, and then you can come over. You stay there where it's safe. We send the men of fighting age over to do that. And then they bring them over once they've got settled. But they send the men to go and do the graft, and then bring the family over afterwards.
But that's economic. That's being an economic migrant, and one of the things that will has already backfired massively on the racist Brexiteers who voted for Brexit thinking it would stop more brown people coming into the country, is that a lot of Europeans who came here to work in their 20s went back in their 30s to start a family. Whereas if you are from Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, Central Asia, North Africa, if you get over here in your 20s, you're freaking staying. You know, if you come from Port Harcourt in bloody Nigeria, no offense to Port Harcourt, I mean, the people there are lovely, but it's unstable. I mean, it's a dangerous place to live. It's been absolutely mullered by these disgusting oil companies that have just pumped all this sludge out of the ocean or from under the ocean, and then spread it out all over the Niger estuary, and it's just a delta, and it's just, why would you go back there? I can see why people go back to Poland. I can see why people go back to Romania and to Bulgaria. I mean, they're beautiful, beautiful places, but places that are really, really struggling still. And there's a part of me that thinks, hang on, though, because these places do need their doctors, they do need their nurses, they do need their teachers, healthcare professionals, full stop, lawyers, accountants, architects. They need all those people. And it seems a bit wrong of us to take them, the best.
Yeah. But no one seems to want to go to Rwanda. That.
Yeah. Is that the place where they shot those they shot those refugees dead a few years ago? I wonder why refugees wouldn't want to go there. Yeah. And the worst thing about that is they go, it's going to discourage people from taking the boats to come over. And it's like, hang on, first of all, this isn't going to make people who are like, they're not going to send over people who are economic migrants over there. They're going to send people who are genuine refugees, so people fleeing persecution. And also the government, I mean, never really touched on this on the Labour Social, on the Labour channel, but I remember reading it a few weeks ago. They've taken off being homosexual as one of the protected criteria, as well as being a woman.
Really?
Did you read about this? Yeah. So if you say, I feel like, I think it's being a woman as well, but definitely being homosexual. Because you've got a big problem in places like Uganda, where you've got these American evangelicals going over there, stirring the shit and saying, oh, these homosexuals, they'll rape your children, they'll, eat you dead and give everyone AIDS. And they believe it because they had lack of education over there. And obviously these are charismatic Americans who have been thrown out of America for being just too vile. And they're encouraging the government, these Americans are encouraging the government in Uganda and other places in Africa to become more and more strict about homosexuality, even going up to the point where we have a situation like what we've got in Iran and Saudi Arabia, where you can be put to death for being gay.
Yeah.
It's funny
I've
because
still got a couple of... Yeah. Oh, go on.
I was going to say, because Iran and Saudi Arabia hate each other, but maybe they could bond over their hatred of gay people. That could be their little olive branch.
Yeah. As I say, I've got a couple of friends who were lauding over the Rwanda deal and this, that, and the other. And
friends, Darren. Why are they still your friends?
Well,
ex-friends, you mean?
Football. Go to football and all that sort of stuff. I'll probably bump into one or two of them tomorrow. But, they were lauding over the Rwanda plan. I said, you have read Section 16, have you? You must have read Section 16, eh? What? So I'll just, well, as luck would have it, I have it on my phone. So I'll read it out and you should see their faces dropped at floor.
I love that.
What, you mean we're taking some of their refugees? And yeah.
Yeah, same number.
I love that. What makes me, because to circle back to your point that you made earlier, I was in the pub the other day with Arthur. And there was these three guys at the bar, and they was like talking about Armistice Day and the process and everything. And they were saying, "Oh, we need to be more like America when it comes to our veterans and all this." And they were like, "Help for heroes," all that sort of caper. And I was sitting there just like having to bite my fist to say, "Do you know anything about the fucking VA in America? Do you know about the tents in America that they just decided we're going to just bulldoze the entire lot?" These are all ex-servicemen that you want to say thank you for your service, but they're homeless on fucking whatever drug they're on, boozing, and you want to be more like America?
Yeah.
No. Have a proper look. But I was just sitting there, just biting my knuckles, going, I can't go over there because it was my mate's local, and I didn't want to cause a thing.
A ruckus.
I hate the idea that we shouldn't help people. I hate that. Like, how dare they just do that? You know, people who are secure, people who have, you know, a house, somewhere to live, they have enough food, they have a car, maybe they have a personalised number plate that they snort cocaine off. Gobshites. But like, you know, they're all right, and all they want to do is just torture people and go, oh, you know, I'm sorry, thank you for your service, but I want you to die on the streets, you know, because I don't really thank you. I couldn't give a shit, and I hate that there's so many people in Britain who kind of think that way. They do. They think that way, which is heartbreaking, really.
But it's an intellectual osmosis from America, that whole thank you for your service sort of thing, but piss off over there, you're in my way.
Yeah, you're in my way.
Well, that's the other going theory as well, why Braverman's been like this, that she's trying to encourage the culture wars again and get other Tories to start saying it as well.
Yep.
If I get into power and start banging on about private schools all the time, people are going to accuse me of engaging in culture wars. Oh, he's on about private schools, isn't he? Bastard. I want to say, if you go to privateschoolmafia.com, you can also go to eatingdisorder.com. It takes you to the same website. But if you go there, it also I think kickingtheprivates.com also goes to the same website. But basically, there's a big disclaimer at the beginning, a big fuck off disclaimer that says, a lot of my friends went to private school. A lot of people who I really respect and love, like Rick Mayall and Philip Pullman and Amano Iannucci, went to private school. I'm not saying all people who went to private school are bad at all, 100%. But there is a disproportionate number of people in our public life who went to public school. Mm-hmm. And there's a disproportionate number of them who are fucking psychopaths and shouldn't be in charge of anything. Like Matt Hancock. The guy who wants to be in charge of life and death, mate. He wants to make the decisions. So, you know.
But the thing is, that disclaimer that you've put on your site is sort of like giving you cover from the conflation that people will put on you, saying, "Oh, you don't like everyone who goes to private schools."
That's what I get a lot.
But they'll never see it. They'll never see that.
Some of our gang are on there. Some of our gang are on there, mate. So it's not like, I'm not saying they're bad people at all by any stretch of the imagination. But it is a bad system that we have. It's an unfair, unjust system that I mean, what we're doing in a way is so bad for our country because we are throwing away so much potential. Because you have these kids who are fucking talented at football or fucking talented. Well, actually, football is one of the ways out of it. And I find it very interesting that when the media go after a celebrity, 9 times out of 10, it's someone from a reality TV show or a footballer because they probably come from a working class background.
Yep.
They will destroy them.
They're new money. They're not worthy.
Yeah, Marcus Rashford, Gary Lineker, anyone on a lot of the reality TV shows.
Yeah, well, look what happens to the lads in England in the Euros. They missed the penalties, and everyone's piling on them. Three black kids. Three black kids. Let's have a go at them. They've got money, and they've missed all the penalties, and they fucked up the Euros for us.
Yeah. We need to start thinking, right, once we get these Tory bastards out of office and hopefully Trump doesn't win next year, we need to start thinking about what society we want to live in, because I don't want to just be putting out the fires for the rest of my life that the far right are causing. I want to think about like what I want our society to look like, and this is what I want it to look like. I hate the idea that if we had UBI, if we had universal basic income, and everyone had their food and rent covered, that we'd all be lazy and we'd just sit at home playing PlayStation. That is absolute bullshit. And I'll tell you why it's bullshit. Look at the list. Look at the private school mafia list. Nearly everyone on that list doesn't need to work. They could just inherit the parents' money or just live in their parents' house for the rest of their life. They don't actually need to work.
It's not that. You look at the studies that were done on UBI. Like in all the countries that have done a UBI study, no one didn't work.
Yes, exactly. But okay, J.K. Rowling. Let's put all the transphobia aside. She is still writing books. She does not have to write books. She is the wealthiest author in the world. She's actually the wealthiest author in history, I think. She doesn't need to write any more books, and yet she keeps writing books. Why? Because she feels compelled that is the thing that she wants to do.
And apparently, all of her books that are non-Harry Potter are shite.
Well, it doesn't matter.
I've never read one,
she's
but
still working. She doesn't just put her feet up and sit on a beach, tweeting homophobic things on Twitter. She actually works. And Jacob Rees-Mogg, he popped out his mum worth £100 million bloody pounds when he was born. But he still works.
He's had his pants pulled down on his own show this week. It's been hilarious.
And GBBs.
Oh, I'll say.
The point is that rich people work like they do when they don't have to. And the idea that people like me and you, who but universal basic income would be really fucking handy for starting businesses, for starting something like Labour Social. Knowing that you've got a grand coming in each month would be freaking amazing. If I didn't have Catherine, being my, live-in landlord who, doesn't want any rent. Thanks, Kat. It's I'd be stuffed. I wouldn't be able to do this. I wouldn't be able to do Labour Social.
Yeah. And super chats would be really welcome as well.
Super chats are always welcome. And thank you to Emma Price for the £5 super chat. The worrying thing about the parallels between the Republicans and the Tory party is frightening. Jacob Rees-Mogg would advocate for an abortion ban. He would, while his company that he invests in makes money out of selling abortion pills.
Yeah,
there's no hypocrisy like Tory hypocrisy.
Whilst he's still getting bitty.
Yeah.
Good God.
James is saying for a near perfect society in the future, Graham, we need to get the media sorted out. All roads lead back to the media in this country. They control everything, including what we think about others, which is so true. And I was listening. I was reading actually. I was reading an article about Britney Spears, about the stuff that's come out in her book, which just seems like absolutely harrowing. What she was put through for the crime of being young and talented, and from a fairly normal background. And
the Disney Club needs to be investigated.
No, but they tried to hound her to death. South Park did an episode on it, where they said, "Oh, we have to hound our celebrities to kill themselves every harvest, otherwise the rains won't come," or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And obviously they're taking the piss, but it's not far off.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of people that have gone through the Disney Club mangle that have not turned out to be too well adjusted when it comes to being an adult, because it's just basically you're a child superstar. We're going to make money out of you. Do this, do this, do this. Next thing you know, they've all got mental health issues and skin, and that's pretty much the.
Well, she was put under, was it a conservation or something order? The order that Britney Spears was put under?
Conservatory. Yeah.
Oh my God! Like she wasn't. They were controlling her.
Her dad owned basically all of
her body. Like she had to take contraception. She was forced to take contraceptive pills.
Yep.
Oh my God! Like.
Yep.
How in this world is that possible? It makes the system.
And that was under instruction of another Disney Club alumni. I'm not saying names because I don't want anyone to get sued.
Yeah, come on, mate. Actually, I haven't been going a year yet.
Allegedly.
In media news, the SAG-AFTRA strike has finally ended.
It has. Fantastic news, and they've won.
Yep.
They won, and the writers won, and loads of different unions that have been striking across America have won. Like literally all the unions that went on strike in America this year won.
Yep.
Excellent.
That is thanks to Joe Biden and the work that he's done on their committees that they've got that focus on unions. Yeah. And that is specifically because they got Joe Biden in.
One Angry Pagan says Thatcher and the Tories have seemed to make our society. Thank you very much for the super chat. Segudu Witter. Make our society believe that asking for or needing help is somehow shameful. What the actual fuck? We have to unteach it. Yes, we absolutely have to. And if you are out of work, you have paid taxes all your life, so that if you are out of work, there is a safety net for you. Yeah. And you take off the time you need and get your head together, and then get back into work when you feel able to.
I want to go back to the pandemic when all the Tories were like, "Oh, we need to be more like Sweden. We need to be more like Sweden. We need to be more like Sweden." And I'm like, let's bring all the stuff that Sweden bring in for like all
Okay,
their
yeah.
social safety net and stuff.
Yeah. But also the fact that they gave money to people who needed money in the pandemic. The government gave money to people who needed money. In fact, it gave money to a lot of people who didn't need money as well.
I loved what Sweden did during the pandemic when it came to sort of like lockdown. They kept all the bars and restaurants open. All they did was just turn the chairs to an angle. That was it. That was their way of mitigating any kind of transmission.
But we had the same kind of transmission rate that they did because
Oh,
our lockdown was done so badly. It was done too late.
Yep.
You had things like carers going from house to house, spreading disease without, proper precautions. I mean, during the plague, they had plague masks, the big crow things that they used to wear.
Yeah.
They used to wear them because
plague doctor. Yeah,
they wore masks during the plague. I mean, even in the medieval freaking times, they knew that. Oh god, I lost my pen. But they knew that wearing a mask stopped the disease somehow. They had no idea about germ theory.
I told you at the time, didn't I?
It was my asthma.
That Rishi Sunak introduced the Green Homes grant at the same time as he introduced lockdown. So as a surveyor, I'm being told I have to go to these people's houses,
Brilliant.
10 houses at a time, right, during the day.
Yeah.
And then he brought in Eat Out to help out. The geezer's an absolute fucking loon.
That's going to be interesting when that comes up in the COVID inquiry. That's going to be very interesting when that comes up in the COVID
Absolutely.
inquiry.
Yeah. Joe Biden actually turned up on a railway workers' picket line. I think that was in Michigan, didn't they? But they didn't necessarily applaud him very much. Captain Bart Roberts, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. He says, "Happy super chat." Thank you. That has made us.
Cheers, mate.
Yep. I'm going to take this opportunity quickly to jump out. To got stuff to,
oh God, it's past 11:30. Sorry, 10:30.
Half 10.
10:30. All right, Ollie, awesome stuff, mate. Are we going to see you on Tuesday for another?
No, I'm in Zurich
Geoscope
next week.
Oh, I forgot you.
I'm
a Tory.
I'm
what?
DCIing.
Did you just say you're a Tory next week?
No, I'm in Switzerland.
I'm having a week of being a Tory.
Wow. So sorting out with your monies.
No, well, I wish. I mean, literally wall-to-wall meetings. I've got a European presidency meeting that goes from 8 o'clock in the morning till about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm like. And then it's going to be like the UN when we have our 2 general assemblies because we've got the entire international turning up. So
brilliant.
We're going to have
1 minute
everyone.
each, mate. That's the important thing. 1 minute each. Give them a little clock down timer and have a little bell if they keep talking. 1 minute. That's all you get.
Do not yield your time.
Do not. I do not yield my time.
Yes.
I'll have a good time.
It's also going to be interesting because Russia and Ukraine are going to be in the same room, and it's been quite interesting the past couple of GAs. So
okay,
yeah.
Oh dear.
Go there and just stir it up, and then just sit back.
I don't need to. I don't need to. Stay out of it.
Yeah. He said your mum's fat.
Just secretly live stream it.
Right. Well, I shall bid you adieu, and I shall see you all soon.
Hi. Take care, mate.
Pleasure, mate. Take care.
Bye.
Charles.
Bye, mate.
Right. Well, should we wrap up now, or do you want to keep going?
Yeah, go on then.
What? Wrap up now, or
well, whatever you want to do.
Wayne, are you all right for the next sort of? Should we wrap up at 11?
Yeah, we've got another.
Or do you
20 minutes? Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, all right. 20. So we're going to wrap up at 11. Everyone watching. John Mortar threatened to turn up. He said if he didn't fall asleep, I guess he's fallen asleep.
Well, I did try to ring. Didn't try to ring. I did ring Mikey from the BIM podcast to come over just to cover all things America because he lives there. But I'm guessing he's busy with his little baby and the dog that likes to bite him a lot.
I'll give you the link a little bit earlier in future.
Yeah.
It's like 2 minutes to 9.
Yeah. No.
I fell asleep. I fell asleep on the fucking couch. Imogen, the youngest, she put Futurama on, and it was an episode that I'd already seen. And I'm just like sitting there on the couch watching Futurama, and then I woke up, and it was like literally 10 to 9, and I was like, "Shit, Labour Social."
Look, that's exactly what happened to me last week. Exactly. I was just like, I was laying there, and you doom scroll through your phone, and then the next video, boom, and I was like, oh bollocks.
Apparently, that's an ADHD thing. You don't fall asleep, you pass out.
Right? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I equate with that. So you can drink a cup of coffee and literally fall asleep 10 seconds later.
Oh yeah, I can drink a cup of coffee at like midnight, and I'll fall asleep, but only for an hour.
Oh really? And then the caffeine kicks in. You're like,
yeah,
I found the best way to stay awake a few weeks ago when people just started posting random pictures of spiders all over Facebook. And if I was in bed and I saw a picture of a spider, it would give me a shot of adrenaline because I'm scared of spiders. So I'd just be like wide awake until like 1:30 in the morning because my adrenaline wouldn't let me sleep.
I've got that thing where I don't properly sleep. I just doze, and because I'm constantly listening to podcast or have the TV on in the background or some ASMR video, my dreams manifest to what I'm listening to. So I remember back in the day, back in 2003, I was constantly in the Iraq War.
I've heard a funny story about that. A friend of mine was once on a business trip in India in 2010, and he was in a hotel and he fell asleep with the TV on, right? And in his dream, I turned up in his hotel room. And he was like, what the fuck are you doing here? And we were having this massive row in his hotel room. And then he woke up and my TV show, Lonely Planets: The Odyssey, was on the TV. So he was hearing his own voice because he's on the show. Yeah. And he was hearing my voice. And obviously his brain was like, oh, Graham's here. Bastard, what's he doing?
Mate, the amount of times I've tried to turn my alarm off in my dream, but it's not my actual alarm. It's because I'm listening to the bleeding TV and someone's alarm going off on the TV. And I'm like, shut up.
Do you know what I hate? I hate it when on a TV show or a movie, you hear the sound of a phone buzz, like a message has come in. Yeah. And you're like, oh no, it's not mine. Yeah. One Angry Pagan says, Terry Pratchett audio books have helped me with sleep, which is pretty cool. But how do you remember where you left off?
Do you know what? I really want to get into Terry Pratchett because a very good mate of mine is a massive fan of like the old Discworld and all that, and I love all fantasy. So I think I might get them on audio books on Audible. That's not a plug. We're not sponsored by them.
Don't demonetize us, YouTube.
But if they want to give us money, then crack on.
Charlotte's saying that Imogen's the most private school girl name out there. Not my monkeys, not my circus. I'm only a stepdad. Nothing to do with me. But she doesn't go to private school. No, if honestly, mate, if we could afford it, yeah, definitely send the kids to private school. I'll send them to private school and still want to see the end of private schools.
Yeah, well, me and my ex, sorry, my ex and I, Grandma, if we could send our daughters to grammar school, then we would.
Yeah.
You know, there's a very famous one in Essex, and it's a girls' school as well. I would love to send our eldest there, but at the same time, I'd also love to. She's got an audition tomorrow for a very famous TV show, and she's 8. And Simon Cowell might have something to do with it. So, fingers crossed.
Wow. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wish you good luck then.
Yeah. Can I just ask while we're just off the subject a little bit? In the chat, can you not put things that are a little bit sort of a bit too much? Because then I have to delete it, and I'd rather just chat with you guys and not have to worry about moderating stuff.
Oh, do you mean I can help modding? That's fine.
No, it's all right. We've got a couple of people who are modding stuff. Lee's modding stuff, and he also says, "Good luck, Wayne's daughter." So yeah.
Thank you so much, Lee.
Good luck. Sorry for the shouting, he says, because he put it all in capitals.
Yeah, no, that's cool. No,
Patrick's is saying he used to fall asleep during the shipping forecast. But yeah,
the shipping forecast.
Yeah. I get that.
No, I'll get it because of the sort of ASMR sort of content.
I used to always
of it.
put. Well, I had one of those old stereos in the 90s that had 3 CDs in it, and it used to be able to like put 3 CDs in. I just to press play and just leave them playing,
Yeah.
and I'd fall asleep to that. So for a long time, I needed music on to fall asleep.
Well, my two go-tos at the minute are there's a few videos where it's basically like thunder and rain on a tin roof for 10 hours. Just play that and that does me. Or there's one called
There's a Babylon 5 reference there.
there's also one that's called Night Shift on the Enterprise, and it's the Enterprise D from Next Generation, and it's just the background noises like that rumble and the turbo lift opening every now and then, and someone like pushing some controls and all that, and just leave that on, and it's just like, yeah, this is do me.
I saw a cartoon, I think it was the Oatmeal or something, where they were pointing out that in Star Trek, the spaceships always meet like nose to nose, whereas in reality, one would be like this and the other one would be like this. One would be like this and the other.
No one gets 3D in fucking sci-fi.
Yeah, I know. It's like because this would look silly, but that's actually what it would probably be more like.
Yeah, it's not like 2 cars pulling up at a drive-through.
I never understood why they always said, "Oh, the Klingons they've got this cloaking device. We don't have the technology to have a cloaking device." I'm like, just paint the spaceships black. That's all you have to do. Paint them black, and no one's gonna see them for miles because they're literally black.
And by the way,
Turn the lights off.
Why are all the Earth ships got a fucking reg number on? In case you go for a speed camera. What the fuck?
Oh, mate, you're going at warp 11.1 here. You got to go back in time. 50 quid fine. That's 3 points on your license, Sean McCard.
It'd be like, sorry, I was in 10 forward. It was Riker. Riker was driving.
Lee said he used to have one with 5 CDs on a turntable. Ooh, left it one night playing random and got a note from a neighbour asking me to turn the music down next time. Dave Farmer said, my wife was pregnant and she'd always sit and relax watching EastEnders, and our son was born. He'd always sleep to the EastEnders theme.
Oh, you can't listen to that on.
It's time for bed now. Yeah.
Right. If your kid goes to bed in that little 30-second snippet, you've done well.
Yeah.
Lee's putting out that you don't need external lights on a starship. Charlotte says, lads, it's fine private schools, but then just accept them. Just don't accept. But just then accept them. Don't have websites against them as paint them as an epitome of everything that is wrong. They are the epitome of everything that's wrong. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Of this. They are cripplingly unfair, and they result in a much less rich tapestry of talent in this country. And we are a very talented country. We punch. I'm going to get all patriotic here, but we do actually punch above our weight when it comes to the arts. We just do. Yeah. Music, film, TV, dance, writing. You know, the biggest franchises before Marvel came along were all like Harry Potter, British, Lord of the Rings, British, James Bond, British. All the Universal monsters were all like, you know, Frankenstein and Dracula and all that kind of stuff. Well, I suppose Bram Stoker was Irish.
We also exported Mary Poppins, and everyone in that was American.
Yes. Are you saying Dick Van Dyke wasn't from the East End? He wasn't born within the sound of the Bow Bells.
Why? Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
Right.
Go. Ruth, thank you very much for the super chat. Good job, Mr. Spanner. Lee, sorry I'm late. I mean, we tend to come up with the ideas, and the really good directors like Hitchcock and Chaplin and Ridley Scott, and I like to take credit for Christopher Nolan, who's half British, and I also like to take credit for Stanley Kubrick, because although he was born in New York, he spent most of his life in Britain. Yeah, we adopted him. Yeah, he's one of ours now. I think he's buried in Britain, actually. There you go. This is forever home. Like America for Rishi Sunak.
Interesting point. I went out because I was very lazy. When I went trick or treating the other day with our daughters, all I did was got the eyeliner pen and went out as your man from Clockwork Orange.
Do you want I did that many years ago. I went as Alex and Clockwork Orange. Do you want to see my Halloween mask for this year?
Oh,
Go get it.
Jesus.
Just one second. There you go.
I'm worried now. Are we going to get demonetized?
Maybe. Hang on. What I'll try and do is I'll try and make myself disappear, and then I'll reappear with the mask.
Right. Oh, God. Hold tight, everyone.
Okay,
Oh,
brilliant.
dear.
All right. Give me a second. Thing is, I can't really wear my glasses while I've got this on, so I won't be able to turn my bloody screen back on.
I think my favourite. You were seeing that parody type newspaper type News Thump, Wayne.
Yeah.
News Thump.
Yeah.
I think my favourite one was Halloween night. Suella Braverman dressed up as Suella Braverman.
I ain't even got to dress up. Trick or treat. Fuck.
Yeah, you can imagine her smiling. You look through it when you see her. That psychotic grin.
I think I said it on the show the other day. She does look like a gelfling from Dark Crystal.
Oh dear.
I'm not trying to attack her in any way, shape, or form on her appearance, but it's just an observation, because she attacks herself with her fucking shit opinions and policies.
Yeah.
So I can have a little dig at her appearance. Well, it's not a dig, it's just an observation. Oh my God. We found sugar.
I had this on, and I had a tuxedo on, so I went as BoJack Horseman.
Oh,
We've got one of them in our house.
As like a little feature on Labour Social. It's like, here's the horse news for the day, and like it's like a little thing where I tell you what's happened in the world of horses. The only problem is I can't actually see anything.
Yeah,
which makes it a little more difficult.
Good luck.
We've got one of them.
With that on.
Yeah, I'll say we've got one of them, but we've also got a rather hyper. We had a she was. We had a rather hyperactive Patterdale Terrier. As soon as you stuff that in here, that was it. She went straight for you like an absolute maniac, trying to rip it off your head.
I moved on her like a bitch. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh Jesus.
Graham, stop horsing around. Why is Graham taking his hat off? Graham, why the long face?
Oh, here we go.
Graham is assing around again. Oh God.
Here come the Christmas cracker jokes.
Yeah, they're not old and they're golden.
Dad jokes.
Oh, shut up.
Are we off down the nag's head? You sound a little
Yes.
horse.
Oh my God.
Stop making a fool of yourself.
Yeah.
They just keep coming. This is brilliant.
Oh, this is good.
I should dress up as cheese next year so everyone can get their cheese puns in.
Oh God.
Now that is a
Patrick just
disgrace.
says, this has got a bit surreal. Welcome to the Labour Social. We're completely, absolutely not vetted or verified by the Labour Party in any way, shape or form.
And we've gone fully sideways.
Yeah. I've just had this thought of Keir Starmer going on YouTube. Oh, we've got a Labour Social. I'll have a little look on this.
See what this Labour Social's all about.
And there's you with horse thing on your face. I'm not sure these will be the right to be what to be attracting.
Yeah, if you actually read the news with like that horse head on. There's a great video back in the day on YouTube called "What the Fuck Did I Just Watch?" and it was literally a guy in a horse head thing doing this mad shit. Which is I don't know what it's called these days, but it was around the same time that like do you remember that song about hipsters? I love my life as a dickhead. Does anyone remember that?
No.
Before your time.
Everything's before my time.
It was about 13 years ago on the internet. It was very funny. It was about hipsters moving to London from Cambridgeshire.
Taking over Hoxton and Shoreditch.
Yes, literally that is the song. And the chorus is, I love my life as a dickhead. All my friends are dickheads too. And just absolutely took the piss out of hipster culture, which is a big thing. And I don't know whether Charlie Brooker of Black Mirror. He did Nathan Barley before he did Black Mirror. And whether that encouraged them or that just predicted them. because it came a couple of years before actually hipsters.
I would say predicted them.
It was very, very, on point.
Because as someone that has frequented London quite a bit in the last 40 years, the dynamic of that place has changed so much, especially the areas that was supposedly like grimy. They're now so posh and trendy, and like little coffee shops, and with my organic green tea and all that. It's everywhere.
Yeah,
it's everywhere.
But if we had, this is one of the things I'll always circle back to universal basic income, because I do believe that it would just unleash an entire generation of authentic entrepreneurialism.
Yeah.
I.e., people who lived in Shoreditch and Old Street and all that, the hipster areas now, the people who used to live there could have done something like that.
Yeah.
Been able to actually start a little coffee shop in downstairs at their flat or something. Do you know what I mean? And just have it as that authentic thing, because it would take the panic out of life. And that's what a lot of us feel. Like I honestly feel panicked about my financial situation. And I'm not kidding about that. I mean, deadly serious. Like, it panics me. I wake up in cold sweat about it, because it's, I realize that I can't do the things that I would like to do in life. And then there's a part of me that is this bloody minded scouse bastard who's just like, no, I'm going to keep doing the things I want to do until, I can't, because, so something major stops me. But as things stand, I don't have any dependents. I don't need to, be bringing in X amount each month, so I can continue doing this kind of stuff. But I'm 44 and I'm kind of sick of it. Not doing this. I just mean I'm kind of sick of the stress.
Yeah.
I've been a freelancer all my life. I've been a freelancer since I was since I left uni, really.
Yeah, dude, I've been on the cards my entire life, and now I've parted ways with the firm that I was with for 15 years. And
shit, I didn't know that.
There you go. There's an exclusive.
Sorry, Wayne.
And now I'm like stressed because I do have two dependents. They don't live with me anymore. But I've still got to maintain this place, because when they stay here, they need to have food and need to have warmth. And I'm like, what do I do? Like, I do my online stuff, like with you guys, and obviously with the bin.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there thinking, like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Because I could do freelance, like, energy stuff, but it's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
So luckily we've got a system that will catch me for a bit and allow me that little bit of room to decompress and look at where I want to go and see what I want to do. What I want to do is this full time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not guaranteed money.
It's not guaranteed, and it's a lot of hard work, and you're going to have to put in literally months, maybe even years of work every day for bugger all. Now, this is, again, going back to UBI. So Lee is asking, how would it work in real life? And the idea is that if you are a human being in Britain and, you're British, either, you've got residency, or you've got yourself diplomatic. Sorry, not what's it called? Asylum.
You was about to say diplomatic immunity.
Diplomatic immunity. Sorry, I was getting on Lethal Weapon 2 then. Sorry, I've been on the Kraken. That's my excuse. Ruth, sorry, just to derail us for a moment. Ruth is asking. Thank you very much for the super chat, Ruth. how's Tan? Let her know we're here. And I, for one, love her strength and input. I will definitely let Tan know that.
A legend.
Tan is an
legend.
absolute fucking legend. She had some really bad news about her cat. Basically, we ran a crowdfunder for her cat to get the teeth done. Barney the cat. She had her teeth done. When they were doing the operation, and the thing is, for some reason, teeth aren't covered. Like dentistry is not covered under
Really?
pet insurance. Yeah, under the pet insurance that Tan had, it wasn't covered, so she had to pay for it herself. So I was like, mate, just do GoFundMe. And she was just like, no, I don't want to do GoFundMe. I don't want to ask people for money in the current climate because obviously people are really struggling. And I was like, you're struggling, Tan. You're struggling. And you put out a load of amazing content that people really, really appreciate. Yeah. And so I kind of pushed her into it a little bit, but I put up the crowdfunder and then I said, Tan, it's been up for 10 minutes and you've got enough money. And she's like, what? And she started to cry, like happy tears, just like, I couldn't believe that that people were so generous, and people were amazingly generous. But when they were doing the operation, they found a lump in Barney's mouth and they've biopsied it and it's cancerous. And they think that Barney's only got a few months to live. So Tan is absolutely devastated.
I can imagine.
And she's not been having a great time with it, anyway, at the moment. And obviously with all the stuff the government is doing, it doesn't make life easier, does it? And again, like you and I, Wayne, she's concerned about her finances. For exactly the same reasons. It is difficult to make a living on the doing this kind of thing, and the painful thing is that we all know that if we were doing exactly the same thing as this, but we were all right wing, we'll be quids in.
Yeah,
we'll find some benevolent millionaire father of a banjo player from Mumford and Sons, and they would literally give us £1 million for doing this. GB News loses £30 million a year. £30 million. So
Should I start a channel called GBBs?
I know full well. I could change horses right now and go being a brown fella and talk about how bad other brown fellas are, and I'll be like, money coming through me fucking ears.
Yes,
you'd get yourself a dog collar and a big afro, mate, and you'd be sorted.
Yeah,
you go on GBBs.
Yeah. We got
class
them,
traitor, race traitor.
Yep. Well, you got your Candice Owens and your Hodge twins over there.
A porch black person.
Yes.
That's as close as I'm going to that term.
Well played.
Yes. But
I could do that, but it's not genuine. It's not legit. I'm looking at this.
Yeah.
And we when we talk about like James O'Brien, like he doesn't always get everything right, and there's some things that he comes out with that is like absolutely infuriating. But so much respect to him for standing up for what he believed in and saying to the BBC, no, I'm not prepared to do this. Emily Maitlis, I mean, she did it belatedly, but at least she did it. And then she did that amazing speech last year up in Scotland where she said, we had this situation in which it would take us, was it her was saying like, we'd have like 50 economists who were saying Brexit was a bad idea. And it was my job to go and find the one person who thought it was a good idea. And it would take us 6 months. And then we'd get that one person in for balance because we needed them to say, it would be great. It'd be great for the economy to build massive trade barriers with our closest and dearest trading friends.
It'd be like having you on as a representative of Liverpool and then having someone from Papua New Guinea to talk about Liverpool.
There are Liverpool fans in Papua New Guinea, though. One of the strange things about coming from Liverpool is you'll meet people all over the world who are Liverpool fans.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre. Well, it's infuriating to me as an Everton fan, but I'll always remember in 1999, I decided to climb Mount Sinai in Egypt, in the Sinai Peninsula. Obviously, that's where they get the names from. And that's where Moses got the 10 Commandments. So I went up and I was like, right, I've got these. I had like a pack of aspirin like tablets, and I was like, I'm gonna get a picture of myself holding these 2 tablets on
Mm.
on the top of the mountain. And the idea is you go up in the middle of the night and you get to the top and you watch the sunrise. And so it's dark when you're going up. And I'm going up and my battery runs out on my torch. This is before mobile phones, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. So I'm sort of stumbling up. And I've got that one hand on the side, the actual mountain, just make sure they don't fall off. And I find this Bedouin guy who is just like lying down having a sleep, and he's got like a cart next to him which has got a blanket over it. And I sort of wake him up and I said, "Excuse me, I'm really sorry, but could you help me out? My battery's died on my phone, on my torch, and I also could do with some water." And he said, "Yeah, no problem. I have batteries," and he had some, Duracells or whatever, and he had some water, and he said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "I'm from Liverpool." And he's like, "Oh my God!" And literally, he's got one of those, it's like a long shirt that goes all the way down to your feet. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know what the proper name is. It's like a cassock, I guess we'll call it. And he opens it up, he unbuttons it here, pulls it open, he's wearing a Crown Paints Liverpool shirt.
Oh my God.
And he's like, "Michael Owen!" And I'm like, "Yeah, Michael Owen." But yeah.
You must know Ian Rush.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no, I doubt that. If I meet Americans, right, my dad taught John Lennon how to play the guitar at the Caspar Club in West Derby.
Because
and they believe it. They always believe it because they think there's only 3 people live in Liverpool.
We've spoke about this before. My late granddad used to play in a skiffle band that used to open for the Beatles at the Cavern. And
really?
Yeah.
My dad did play in a band called the Huey Graham Trio, who played at the Caspar Club in Liverpool, West Derby, and they played, and the Quarrymen, as they were at the time, played in the intermission. So my dad's claim to fame is that the Beatles were his support band.
No, they were
quite true, but it's almost true. It's true enough.
They were called the Beatles when my granddad was.
They were called the Beatles,
playing.
Because when they were playing the Cavern, they were the Beatles.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
do you like the new song, by the way, before we go? Because we're 7 minutes over.
Yeah, go on.
Have you heard the new song?
No.
What's your take on it?
Right.
I like it. It's kind of got stuck in my head like a bit of an earworm. Actually.
Yeah, it's all right. One of my favourite songs I always used to enjoy playing was Blackbird on the guitar. Always used to enjoy trying to play that.
Yeah.
Blackbird is a great song.
It's really, really good. It's difficult. I've listened to it and I thought it's not bad. It's not bad.
Two of my favourite songs are called Blackbird, and the other one is by a band called Alter Bridge.
Alter Bridge. Oh,
yeah.
Slash and I've forgotten his name now.
What, Slash from Guns N' Roses?
Yeah. Slash from Guns N' Roses.
I saw him at Glastonbury this year. I saw Slash.
I think one of my favourites of theirs is Watch Over You.
Watch out, mate! I've done it. If you go on my YouTube, there's a cover of me and Scott from Five doing it.
It's brilliant. It's a brilliant tuning for guitar. I'll give it that.
Yeah, if you Google right now, or go on YouTube and go Scott Robinson Alter Bridge or Scott Robinson Watch Over You. There's me and him. This was like nearly 10 years ago now. Doing a cover of Watch Over You in his kitchen.
Oh, it's so cool. Just to shout out to Darian Destar for the £2 super chat. Graham, you're doing stand-up in London. Where? No, tonight the Riot Society with Danny fucking Price and Aid Thompson and others are doing a show down in the London Docklands. But I think you probably missed it now because it's 11 o'clock. I'd love to stand up at some point in London or anywhere, really. That'll have me.
I think you'd be brilliant at it, mate.
It's something that I did when I was in university. We used to run a night. The fuck was it called? I want to say that it was called See You Next Tuesday, but it wasn't. It was something like that. But basically, we ran a night. Me and my mate Dan, who ended up working for the NME, and it was music and comedy. So basically, while the band was setting up, while the roadies were setting up the next band to come on, we'd have a comedy act on, and me and Dan were the compers for it.
Oh,
Shit, I can't remember what it was called. But I'll probably remember to dig it out. Probably got it on an old digital 8 tape somewhere. But yeah, I'd like to get back into that, to be honest with you, because
Mm.
I've got some funny stories to tell from me days on the road and just, the madness of everything in life. But yeah, at some point, Darian, I need a manager. That's what I need. So yeah,
Yeah.
let's see if we can get to that point.
Managers cost money.
Well, yeah. There's only so many hours in the day, and I still haven't written the sequel to Man of the World, which is my book. And I've got a lot of people who are waiting on that who have actually paid for the book already, and so I need to crack on with.
Do you want me to sign a few copies for you?
Yeah, if you would, that'd be great. That'll save me from doing that. Emma wants to know, thank you very much for the super chat, Emma. Apart from subscription and super chats, is there any way to fund you guys? You give me hope. That's really nice of you. If you go to patreon.com/Labour Social, you can become a patron of Labour Social, and actually you can donate as much as you like on there if you want to. That'd be really kind of you. That's generally how we get that, and that's public, and it's not like we don't want to be. Well, I for talking as myself for Labour Social, we want to make sure that all of our donations are public. We don't want to be like a mysteriously funded think tank.
Yeah.
And if we ever do get a big injection of money from Mr. X, I will be sure to let you know who Mr. X is and exactly why they're giving us the money and what they expect in return. Because I think that's the least you should expect.
On the flip side of that, I'll take cash in a brown envelope and I'll come meet you.
Yeah.
Do you have something like a Patreon yet, Wayne? Do you have anything like that set up?
On the Bin podcast, I do. Sorry, just can I do a little plug?
Absolutely, plug away, mate.
Yeah. So patreon.com/the Bin podcast. That's the show that I do with my other podmates. This is
it the Bin podcast?
The Bin podcast. This is my other gig that I do with Graham, because Graham is a good mate of mine, and I'll always contribute to his show as best I can.
Cheers, Wayne.
But yeah, that's where we are. So if you want to find us on there and fire out some money, yeah, we'll take it. Or again, just brown envelope and I'll meet you on the M25.
That always reminds me of my favourite Monty Python sketch. And I know you're not a fan of Monty Python, Wayne, but it was actually, they had a sketch called Blackmail. And it was this TV show where basically they blackmail the people watching it. And so it would be like, they'll show a video of like a politician in a bedroom with a woman, and they'll say, we're going to keep playing this. And the totalizer going up the longer they left it before they called in to say, stop it, I will pay to stop this. And you can see the totalizer going up. And at the end they go, right, and donations as always to the in a brown envelope behind the radiator in the toilets in King Cross Station. King's Cross Underground Station. I just absolutely love that.
That actually ties into. Do you remember that Black Mirror episode with the pig?
Oh God, that was the first episode. What a baptism of fire that was. Fans of Black Mirror and Oh,
that was
I really like
episode.
Charlie Brooker's stuff. I like Nathan Barley in The Dead Set, and I love his 2019 wipe and stuff like that. Well, sorry, he didn't do a 2019 wipe. I love his wipe shows, his TV wipe. Screen Wipe, that was called.
Yeah.
I watch his new show on Channel 4.
But
that's a TV show that you don't want to watch with your mum.
You know the B episode of Black Mirror, and that particular series, that was based on Katie Hopkins.
Which one?
The one with the bees.
The way they went into people's heads with the girl from Trainspotting in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just genius.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she was so prominent at the time, and it was like, I'll see where this is going.
Lucy's saying I did youth theatre production with Lucy Beaumont. I also went to school with GBB's Michelle Dewberry. Oh my word!
Oh God! And she's married to Simon Jordan.
I'll put in the Patreon link for Labour Social. I'll also put the Patreon in for the Bin podcast.
Cheers, mate.
Darren, have you got a way of people throwing money at you while you dance?
To be honest, I find it quite uncomfortable because I've had people say, how much you charging your PayPal? And I'm like, you don't have to give me anything. It's, don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's the way we all feel. Honestly,
yeah, because
trying
if I'm honest,
yeah,
if I'm honest, I'm in that strange situation where I own my own house. I don't have that problems anymore, and it's come at the situation where now I'm not that fussed because I don't have to. Whereas before, when I was finished from council, I worked for 30 years. My God, I could tell you some stories there that'd be hilarious. But some belters.
We'd love to hear them, mate.
Oh my God! Well, I'll tell you a quick one. Well, when we used to drive them cage wagons, we used to get calls. Can you pick up a dead animal, dead dog, a dead cat? Friend of mine drives up and goes into this woman's garden, finds this dead cat, grabs it by its tail, swings it round like a lunatic. Cat comes off its tail, straight into the cage van. And then he gets in this kid driving, and he's looking in his wing mirror. All he sees is cat like stuck to the top of the cage. Comes back to the yard, and he says, "Can we have a word?" I said, "Do you know when you picked up that dead cat? What did you do with it?" He says, "Well, I put it back in cage." Well, we've had a complaint from the very distraught woman who was the owner of the cat. Watched you pick it up by the tail, swing it around like a lunatic, and then slung it straight into the cage. And said she was absolutely distraught.
Oh no. Oh.
Yeah, you just won't believe it.
I'm
glad I don't live in Yorkshire, mate. That's all I can say.
Oh, nuts! Yeah.
You've literally just got yourself out of a Ray Liotta, because that was a question I was going to ask on Mystery Hour. Who picks up the dead animals?
That is a good question. I've got a question for Mystery Hour. This is the question I'm going to ask: is why the fuck do kebabs in Durham come like apart? Like, why do you get the pita bread and the meat and the salad and the sauce separate? What the hell? You don't go into Pret a Manger and go, "Oh, look, a sandwich. I'll put it together myself, shall I?" You don't go into Subway and go, "Oh, it's all right. You just give me the bread and I'll do the rest." Do you know what I mean?
It's
but
the new
here in Durham,
trend.
for some fucked up reason, and I've been to 4 kebab shops now. So the first time it happened to me, I was like raging. I thought, I'm gonna write on the internet that I went in for a kebab and they didn't even put it together. But what's wrong with these people? Like, I've been to literally every Middle Eastern country, every one, and I've had kebabs in every one. And do you know what? Unless I was sitting down for a meal in a restaurant, they wrapped up the fucking kebab, because that's how kebabs are supposed to be. Except in Durham, and I want to know why.
I am going to say, this is going to be earth shattering for you, Graham.
What?
My local kebab shop that is the best kebab shop.
They don't wrap the kebabs.
It's called Basildon Chef. Get a little shout out for them. They do the exact same thing.
So you have to build your own sandwich.
They put a layer of rice at the bottom of the thing. Then they put your meat. Then they put your salad. Then they put the pita wrapped up. And then you get your 2 little pots of sauce and your extra.
This is why I think
extra jalapenos.
This is a great question for Mystery Hour, because I want to know which other places do this fucked up thing with kebabs.
I have to say,
but I don't know if I'll be able to talk about it without swearing, because it upsets me so much.
Jesus Christ!
I have to say, before I go, I say the best doner I ever had, doner kebab, was in Brentford. One day,
Brentford,
yeah. We went, me and my mate. Went down to Brentford. Bradford City were playing there. We lost 2-0. We were pants, like we weren't too happy. They won't let us into any pubs round any grounds or whatever. So we're making his way back to coach sulking, and we pulled into this kebab shop, and that looks nice of that. And anyway, I was there saying, "Oh, we'll have one of them," and guys saying, "Everything on it?" I said, "Yeah, throw yourself on it as well. We'll have the lot."
Yes,
so,
all of that. Put it on
yes,
there.
yes, even yourself, all sauces, whatever. So anyway, we're making his way through.
So you didn't have to build it yourself, though. Like literally, they wrapped it for you.
Yeah, practically. Yeah. So anyway,
What do you think, Wayne? Do you think I should ask this on Mystery Hour? Like why? Why do they do this? Who told them?
Yeah,
Because I had a discussion the other week. I went to see the new Martin Scorsese movie with Ben.
It is a new
60
trend. It is a new
Amazing.
trend.
And afterwards, I went to a kebab shop and I was talking to the woman in the kebab shop, and I said, "Do you wrap up your kebabs, or do I have to do that myself?" She said, "Oh, you have to do it yourself." I said, "Is that normal?" And she said, "Well, actually, I used to work at a kebab shop outside of Durham, and we wrapped up all our kebabs there, so I don't really know why they don't wrap them up here."
I don't know. But how was your kebab with everything on it?
It was to die for. Yeah, it was to die for. Me and my mate made us way to coach. Guys organised. Well, bloody hell have you been? Kebab string sticking out of his gobs, and
I can't remember what comedian it was. It might have been Billy Connolly. It was someone of that era, and it said that when you get a takeaway, the paper ain't see-through by the time you get home, it's not worth eating.
It's very true. Well, I went to uni in Manchester, so I was spoilt with Abdul's kebabs because they're in not in pita bread, they're in naan bread, and they're massive. Like they're just absolutely huge, big. But I have to say, the best kebab I ever had, and obviously I've travelled quite a bit, was...
You should write a book about it.
I should have mentioned it. Armenia.
Really?
There you go. You weren't expecting that, were you?
No,
Armenia.
That's a side step.
Absolutely fantastic kebabs in Armenia.
Wow.
I think because they put bacon in it. You don't need to get bacon in your kebabs in the Middle East.
oh,
No, definitely not.
But
God.
it was so good.
Any
Bit of crispy bacon in your kebab. Come on. Who doesn't want that?
Well,
Well,
let me,
Muslims, Jews, Hindus, obviously.
This is a little
Vegetarians.
life hack to stay away from like your McDonald's and your Burger Kings and all that, right? A garlic chili keema naan from most Indian takeaways is going to be about £3, and it's a meal in one go.
Ooh.
oh.
You got meat, you got carbs, you got herbs. Brilliant.
Do you know what I'm really excited about? The fact that we're getting more of these Indian street food cuisine places in the UK. Because one thing that I could never get in Manchester in the Curry Mile is masala dosa, which is like a big rice pancake. It's like a crispy rice pancake.
Yeah.
With it's got vegetables inside it, like stewed vegetables. And absolutely delicious. It's what you have for breakfast if you're ever in South India. And now you can get it. There's a place on Bold Street in Liverpool that actually does it. It's really, really good. I really like it. Just saying.
I'm so bloody hungry now.
I know, I'm making everyone hungry watching this.
Yes.
One of the big reasons to travel is the food. And that's why America kind of pisses me
Definitely.
off with its Starbucks and its McDonald's and its KFC.
Just
and
the generic
I
stuff.
don't mind a McDonald's milkshake. I don't mind a KFC wrap. I don't mind a Burger King.
Oh.
But I mean, the fact that our food is now becoming homogenized seems quite communistic to me.
One good thing about McDonald's is getting a large portion of fries and dipping them in a strawberry milkshake.
You dirty dipper. You a dirty dipper then?
Yeah.
I have actually done that for me sins. But, what can I say?
It's one of them secret little life hacks. It's like, oh, this is all right.
Lee Korn's saying his missus had a pregnancy food urge for a Peshwari naan, which is the one with the raisins in it. And I can never get my head around that one. Why put raisins in your curry? Seems like a very 1970s thing to do. In India, I never had any raisins in any of my curries that I had in India.
I don't like any kind of shrunken fruit.
Yeah, fuck sultanas, man.
Give me it in its true
You
form.
shrunken fruit.
Yes.
You ever heard of a shrunken banana, have you? You would do it. So fuck it. No, that's just lazy.
Yeah.
Someone's done that for commercial reasons. And then, remember the little boxes of raisins you used to get?
Yes.
They were racist as fuck.
Yes. I remember lots of things being racist as fuck as when I was a kid. I mean, you might be too young to remember this, Wayne, but do you recall the Kiora commercials in the 1980s?
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
my god! Like, seriously, you show that to an American, and they're like, "Was this in the 1940s?" No, 1980s, mate. 1980s. And like,
It might
what?
might as well have been the crows from was it
Dumbo.
Dumbo? Yeah,
Yeah.
it might as well have been them.
I think they were. I thought that's what it was based on.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
be your dog. That was the words that they said in the
Yeah.
fucking commercial for fucking
Yeah.
Kiora. Which is Maori for hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all seems like wholesome. And also we had Umbongo, which apparently they drank in the Congo. Having been banged up in jail in Congo for a week, I can categorically state that they do not drink fucking Umbongo in the fucking Congo.
I got pulled up for not pronouncing my T's this week, so you can fucking make sure you do yours.
But yeah, casual racism. Always fun. And something that I think a lot of Conservative voters would like to bring back.
I want to just. I still remember an old Drift. Remember that do they still sell them chocolate bars, Drifter or something? They're a little bit like cast off of a Twix.
Yeah, it's like a snide Twix. Yeah.
Yeah. Always reminded me of an old. It could have been in the 80s, where this. It's sort of like this. When I look back at it now, I think, wow, did they get away with it? You know, where it's a little bit like the only gay in the village. You know, they overhype what people. There was this black guy with this big, massive hat and this shirt down here, and they made if what their idea of a black man, that was it, and he's doing the cut me some skin man and stuff like that, and I would have just reminded me, and I'm thinking to myself, if I'd have watched that now, I'd have been scratching my teeth now. But that is embarrassing.
But
just to jump in, sorry, someone just started in the chat about Umbongo and saying, do they drink Guinness in Congo? Yes. And the sappers, I think they're called. They are these gentlemen of the Congo who like dress up really, really fucking dapper. I remember seeing a guy standing at we were going past on the bus, and he was in this amazing white suit, like bright white suit. Do you know what I mean? Like something that you'd expect to see on the dance floor in Saturday Night Fever or something.
And you've got to be
there, and this literally like a little hut with a corrugated iron roof. Do you know what I mean? And he is just standing there, you know, just proud. Older guy, he was probably in his 60s or something, just standing there with his arms folded, watching the bus go by. And I was like, "Fucking dude!" But yeah, Guinness did an advert about the sappers, the well-dressed gentlemen of Congo.
That reminds me. I was. This was back when I was working for Dreams, the bed company. Me and Arthur and I, again, Grandma. We was driving through New Cross, and we both had to stop and look at this geezer. He was the best dressed geezer I've ever seen in my life. He's just bowling up the street he had some nice brogues on. He's a young black fella. Brogues on, nice trousers, pucker jacket, hat, glasses, and we was like, both just stopped me. That's the coolest man in the fucking world. Right there. That's the coolest man in the world. And to this day, I still, you know, when one of them memories that it's like ingrained. It's like, he's there. He's there. Every time I go through New Cross, I'm like, I ain't seen him.
Yeah.
But yeah, but to your point, Graham, when you see someone who looks the bollocks, you just go, well played.
Yeah.
I honestly, cards on the table, I'd love to be that person. I'd love to have someone who dressed me. Like, that is my dream, to have someone, you know, like Suella's dream is to have poor defenseless women and children deported to Rwanda. My dream is to have someone to say, Graham, wear this, because I haven't got a fucking clue. I always end up looking like a tramp. But if I, what do they call it? The dresser? Is it a dresser that they have in Hollywood?
Yeah, dresser.
I want a dresser. That's what I want.
Yeah.
That's on my bucket list.
Yeah.
Someone to dress me.
Anyway,
I'll
guys,
be your Ken.
I'll
be your Ken.
Anyway, guys, I'm gonna go because I'm
it's
need to
half,
go.
it's half 11.
We need to close out.
Wrap things up.
Close out.
So thank you very
all
much.
right, then.
Thank you very much, Darren. Thank you very much, Wayne. And thank you very much for watching. And thanks to all the super chats and the chat. You've all been awesome. We'll be back on Monday morning with the Labour Socials morning brew at 9:30 on Monday. Until then, thanks for watching. And just good night and have a great weekend. And hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.
Goodbye.